Round 9 takes us to the Tricky Triangle after a wild night in Texas in the All-Star race last week. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Eliza Bethel alongside Pete Ruzick. How you doing out there, Pete?
Eliza, I am absolutely ready for the Tricky Triangle. It's been a great few weeks. Like you said, last week the All-Star race really kicked off, went very, very well. Action was everywhere. Tonight, yeah, three very distinct corners here in the Pocono Mountains. Ready for it. How are you?
I'm doing great, and we always start off with driver spotlights, and tonight, you can see some action out there on track, but tonight we have two drivers. We're going to have joining us Philip Bridgman, pilot of the number 24 for STR Motorsports, and Connor Cunningham, driver of the number 3 for Nitro Motorsports. Good evening, gentlemen. How you guys doing?
I'm doing all right.
Glad to hear it. All right, we're going to get started on the interview for these guys. So, first question for you guys. Use one word to describe Pocono. And we are going to start with Connor Cunningham.
Fun.
Fun. All right, I like it. I know you love this track, so, I'm expecting, hopefully, to see you in the booth afterwards.
You're asking for a bit much there.
Let's hope. That would be really cool if we could. We saw it last time, so we'll see. All right, Philip, what about you? What's one word to describe Pocono?
I would probably have to say challenging.
I can see that
It's
also.
Definitely described the Tricky Triangle for a reason, and it packs a different challenge each time you come here, no matter what you come here in. It's always got something.
Fair enough. I agree with you. And tonight is 80 laps, and we only have 3 sets of tires. And with the set that we are using, I think it will be a little bit of a challenge here. All right. Question number 2. What is the most challenging aspect of Gen 6 in general? And this time we're going to start with Philip.
I would want to say the pack racing. I feel like almost no matter where we are, I got this problem a little bit, but no matter where we are, we're kind of in a pack. You can't really break away from that. I feel like here we might finally end up single file for quite a while if it does pan out, but just getting over the pack racing part, it's a big traffic jam out there every time.
I have heard that. This is definitely very drafty, and a lot of guys cannot break out from that. So, and it creates tight race cars behind it, so that definitely can be a challenge. Absolutely. All right, Connor, what about you? What is the most challenging aspect of Gen 6?
Probably the aero package, because when you're right behind somebody and you try and turn in with them, you can't really turn as good as they do if they have the clean air. So your car will be a bit tighter through the corner. So I say with Philip's comment, it's pretty rough for it.
Yeah.
As we go on through the race, because everybody be smacking on each other, Bob, or being plowing tight behind everybody. So
I agree. All right, next question. What's a hobby you enjoy outside of racing? And we are going to start with Connor.
Probably gaming. That's what I like to do a lot.
Nice. I know we used to race on NASCAR Heat, and I'm pretty sure we might have done some Minecrafting together too back in the day.
That would be correct, yeah.
Yes, I was pretty sure. All right, Philip, what about you? What is your hobby outside of racing?
I'm pretty much in the same boat, not gonna lie, between gaming and driving. I enjoy driving a lot, but
Yeah.
I
Fair
don't
enough.
really know if that's a hobby though. Besides gaming,
Well, if it's outside of racing, yeah, gaming in general, I would say so. Absolutely. All right. This one is going to be a little bit harder. What has been your favorite race this season so far? And we're going to start with Philip.
Chicagoland. I absolutely love that.
Nice. What do you love about Chicagoland?
It's just been one of my most favorite tracks. Everywhere, almost every time I've raced it, it's been a fast-paced track for me. It's really easy to get a grip on, and you just get going, and it's great.
Awesome. Yeah, Chicago is definitely a great track, so I can absolutely see that. Connor, what about you? What has been your favorite race this season?
Probably Auto Club, because you can literally race anywhere. And mind you, I missed Auto Club, but I was crew chiefing for my good old buddy Gale that's in the race with us. It
Nice.
looked pretty fun out there, so kind of sad I missed it.
Yeah. Oh, maybe next time, right?
I hope so.
For sure. All right, final question, guys. What is your favorite driver and your favorite paint scheme from real life? And we'll start with Connor.
Gosh.
I'm putting you on the
Well,
spot.
Dang it. Probably Jeff Gordon's T-Rex, because can't go wrong with it, you know?
Wasn't
All right,
seeing that one
nice.
coming.
I was not at all. That just threw me off, considering like how many 3 cars we're seeing and whatnot. Threw me off. I like it. I like it. So the Jeff Gordon T-Rex paint scheme. Nice. All right, Philip, what about you? What is your favorite driver and your favorite paint scheme in real life?
It's obviously for past and present, or
Whichever.
oh, okay. I would probably say like Jimmy Johnson's like 2006 like Lowe's car, like one that had like the house on the hood and like the
Yeah.
black side on the door.
The Cobalt?
There's just a Lowe's, like the blue and silver one.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely love that paint scheme. It was just very identical, as you could see it from like a mile away. Like no matter where you were on the track, like you could always point it out. I loved it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I miss seeing all those guys out there, to be honest. Like Gordon and Johnson and all those guys. I mean, they were just so fun, and the paint schemes, always amazing. So yeah, I agree. Really solid paint schemes for sure. All right, guys, that was it for the interview. I appreciate hanging out with you, and it was fun getting to chat with you for sure. I wish you a ton of luck in the race tonight. Hopefully we can get you both in the booth afterwards.
I hope so.
Would be
Good luck
nice,
in the
right?
broadcast.
All right,
You
guys, you
reckon
guys
I'm
take
going
it
out
easy
of the
then.
black?
Heat,
Yo!
we have a big night tonight. It should be a ton of fun.
Yep.
80 laps and 3 sets of tires. Do you have any guesses of who might win tonight or what will happen?
Oh boy, well, it's interesting. You know, right now Brendan Book is sitting atop the scoring pylon and has been up there for a while. John Honeycutt, he's had a couple of wins elsewhere recently, so he might be building on that little bit of momentum that seems to follow a lot of people around. Brody Falliker and Tom Harmon, as well as Jamie Wright right now to fill out the top 5 here in practice. So we could very well see a new winner. Could also see another driver come across for maybe a third or maybe a second win. How about you?
Yeah, you know, it's difficult. I know this track starts off extremely loose, so that's something we're going to have to watch out for. We've seen some drivers really sliding around here tonight, especially off of turn 3. I know it
Yes.
should tighten up, but it's going to take several laps for that to happen. So you're really going to have to take care of your car in the long run, especially when you first get out there. So you can see that 93 Joe Berg sliding around out there. I'm kind of curious, though, how many guys are going to lose it off at turn 3. It's going to be very interesting at the start.
Well, I'll tell you what, a lot of the drivers that really love to be able to manhandle their cars have been loving turn 3 and how loose it is and how much they're having to counter steer coming off of the corner. They're really setting it sideways all the way through and carrying a whole lot of momentum down the front stretch. The front stretch here at Pocono is the longest front stretch in any track in all of NASCAR. Some people might think it's Talladega or maybe Indy or something like that. Nope, it's right here in the Pocono Mountains, and you can carry a lot of speed off of turn 3 down the front stretch until you really got to whoa it up and slow it up in order to make a very tricky entrance into turn 1. So if they can control that looseness off of turn 3, they could put a very, very good lap together, and they might even be able to help manage their tires for a little bit later in the run, because when you're turning off the right rear and not the right front, your car seems to handle a whole lot better a little bit later on.
Absolutely. I think the biggest thing is just nailing those corners, because those straightaways are so long. You have to have that momentum. So really just backing it up for the corner and getting on the throttle as soon as you can is going to be super important. Of course, I say that, but you don't want to do it too soon where it's going to wear down those tires. So it's a fine line for sure. But, man, look at these guys just going Days of Thunder down the backstretch. We have the 11 and the 93 cracking me up. And luckily, it's just practice with under a minute to go. But these guys having some fun out here at Pocono. Tricky triangle, only 3 corners, unlike what you see at these other tracks. And we appreciate you guys tuning in. We have Maddie out there. We have Violet. And everyone, if you want to give your guesses on who is going to win tonight, you let us know.
Yeah, we were talking about the little bit of what would you call it? Common knowledge or knowledge about this track. And I was thinking about this place yesterday while I was working in my garage, and thinking about the 3 different corners here at Pocono and where they were named after. If anybody out there in the land of chat, I see just about 20 out there so far. If anybody out there in chat can name which of the tracks the 3 different corners at Pocono are named from or modeled after, a little extra kudos out there in chat. So, but we're getting ready to go qualifying, Eliza. Who do you have winning tonight?
I don't know. It's one of those things where, man, it is just going to be so incredibly tight. I don't have the slightest guess, but come back to me again after qualifying's done, and maybe
I'll come back
have
to you
a
when the
better
checkers
guess.
fly. You'll get it 100% then.
There
okay?
you go. I like what you're thinking there. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we got to talk about some of these guys. We got Jonathan Jurgensmeyer out there. He is always quick. He was someone that people were guessing could get on pole or, perhaps get a win tonight. So that'll be interesting to see. Matthew Opliger, we have a lot of drivers that are now in the 2-win category. Our last 3 races are from drivers getting their 2nd win of the season. That is going to be Steven Maggio, Matthew Opliger, and Jimmy Cocker. All 3 of those guys have officially 2 wins now. We'll see. I know they're going to try to get a 3rd. We'll see if it happens tonight.
You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. I was talking about, the 5 of Brendan Book and, of course, John Honeycutt and others. One guy that you've actually got there right now on screen as the 68 is in the midst of qualifying. One guy that can absolutely take care of his tires. He's very fast. And if it comes down to having to save a little bit of fuel, I think Tom Harmon. I think he is overdue. He's had more than his fair share of bad luck getting into other guys and just being in the wrong place at the wrong time. I think Harmon gets it done tonight. I'm just going to go way out on that branch before it breaks. And, yeah, I say Harmon.
You know what? I actually spoke to him earlier tonight, and he was saying, I'm hoping I stay out of trouble. It's like it comes, my trouble for me comes before the finish line, and I just can't gather it back up. So hopefully he stays out of trouble and can make it into victory lane. I know he would absolutely love it. As you said, he is long overdue here, so we'll see what happens for sure.
There you go. Well, right now, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, you talked about him a little bit ago. He's on top of that pole, and just as I say that, Matt Opliger kicks him off, and then, well, there goes Brody Valacher. But that's gonna put the 68 down just a little bit from where I thought I had just seen him. But qualifying is what kicks it all off. And the word I was thinking about before when I was talking about the 3 different tracks that Pocono is modeled after, it's the word trivia. The word trivia just could not come to my mind.
Well, you said it now, so we'll
There
see
you
if
go.
anyone can get that. But I want to take a little break for Izzy and Jay's Soap Company. You guys know you got to show them some love. They are a lovely soap company. They craft natural handmade soaps. They have beard balms, tattoo butters that benefit your family, and they're great for the planet. So be sure to visit them at www.izzyandjayssoap.com. They do amazing things, and it's pretty exciting that they are able to do that. And I know Pete has tried out some of their products. I know his wife has, so it works really great.
Yeah, their tattoo bombs and their the stuff for your beards, and there are so many great things. I mean, whether you've got oily skin, dry skin, or you want to take care of your facial hair or whatever, they've got something for everybody, and it's not at the commercial prices and all that. The owner Izzy is actually really good to talk with. He's very prompt with emails and purchases and things like that. Yeah, go on over, check him out, izzyandjsoap.com, and tell him that Shake and Bake sent you.
Absolutely. All right. These guys are on their way for qualifying. Almost over at this point. Brody Folliker is out there with a 54.41. We have Rivers Jones with a 54.49 in P2. Jimmy Cocker in third with a 54.56. John Honeycutt, who I know got a win here in the trucks last week with a 54.58. Jamie Wright in fifth. Matthew Opliger in sixth. Thomas Harmon in seventh. And Jonathan Hernandez. He just moved down to ninth. It looks like we had Brennan Book take over that second spot.
Yeah, Tom Harmon down there ninth. Micah Allard right now to sit in the 10th position. One of our spotlight drivers, Connor Cunningham, right now sitting 11th. Josh Taylor in the deuce, 12th. Matt Sisler, 13th. Jai Baxter, 14th. And Steven Maggio, a guy that's bad fast every single week in that number 51. Right now to round out the top 15, Eliza, as we go to practice.
Yeah, we're in warm-up currently, so you know what that means. Let's take a look at the track analysis for tonight. We're going to have, it's Pocono. We are here for the Tricky Triangle. 80 laps on the schedule for tonight. No fast repairs. For stages, we're going to have stage 1 as 24 laps, and the final stage will be 56 laps. Tonight, we're going to have one less set of tires that we normally have. We're going to have 3 sets this time. So these drivers really going to have to take care of their equipment, make sure that they're doing all right on those tires. We talked about turn 3 being especially loose out there. And when you get behind someone, that draft is going to make them extremely tight in that dirty air. A lot to watch out for.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, we talked about the speed coming off of, or the needed speed coming off of turn 3 in order to make sure you've got great speed heading down the front stretch to prepare yourself to dive on down into the corner into turn 1. Of course, turn 2 over that tunnel turn, and then a very wide turn 3 again to complete a lap here at Pocono. It's going to be interesting to see who can maintain their equipment the best. Eliza, if it's me, if I was good enough to actually get the lead in one of these races, at that point it kind of switches over to tire management. You don't need to be, bad fast all the way through. You don't need to try to run qualifying laps each and every lap. All you've got to do is run a speed that seems to be consistent with whoever is behind you. And then, of course, if they move their way on up, you might need to light that wick a little bit more. But tire management and fuel management, very, very important here at Pocono.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be absolutely huge. And this is one of those times where I don't know that I want to be out front. I am not the best saver, I'll be honest. So I love sitting behind someone that I know is a great saver. And I will just keep their pace, follow them through, and then try to make a move when I can. So we'll see what these guys can do. When you're out front, you do have clean air. So that is a huge plus that the guys behind will not have. So position is going to be king tonight. Is going to be a little bit more tough to try to make a pass. But we'll see when and where they do make those passes. But turn 3, we're going to have to keep our eye on it. And while we're out here in warm up, let's take a look at points. We haven't taken a look at points in a while. Last week, we were at the All-Star race, which was so exciting, but take a look. Points out here, Jimmy Cocker is now in the lead, moving up 4 spots after his win in the last points race. Brody Folliker, he has moved down a spot to P2 with 252 points. Another big mover, it looks like it's going to be Andrew Sanford. He has gained 7 spots in the last race to move up to P18. So we do have a couple of big movers out there. And then Jose Ruiz, after a great race in our last race, he also moved up 7 spots to P22.
He sees victory lane. Tom Harmon in 4th. Same thing for him in that 68 Frozen machine we talked about a little bit ago. And of course, Matt Opliger, a 2-time winner so far this season. Very, very stacked top 5 at least.
Yeah, I agree. So tonight is going to be very interesting to see who is able to go where on this. But this is going to be the mid part of the season. This is round 9. I believe that we have 18 or 19 races out here. So it's coming quickly to the mid part of the season, and the chase will be up here before you know it, Pete.
Yeah, absolutely. After tonight, we go to Kansas in just a week's time for 134 laps, followed by Iowa. The Lady in Black, of course, talking about Darlington for 184 laps, and then Charlotte for 200 laps, the longest race of the year, before we start the chase for the Cup. And man, I said before we even came on, and I cannot wait for that chase to kick off, because it is going to be phenomenal with the guys that are in this community. Very, very diverse, and anybody can win on any week.
I agree. It's going to be awesome. But here we go to the grid for Pocono Raceway. Brody Folliker and that 42 machine is your pole sitter tonight. On his outside will be Brendan Book in that 5 car. Row 2 is going to be Rivers Jones in that 91 machine with Jimmy Cocker to his outside. Row 3 is going to be John Honeycutt in the 50 car with Jamie Wright in the 03. Row 4 is going to be Matthew Opliger in the 20 with Jonathan Hernandez in the 1 machine. And in row 5 is going to be Thomas Harmon in the 68 with Micah Outland in the 61.
Yeah, row 6 looks like the number 3 for Connor Cunningham, one of our spotlight drivers for tonight. And to his outside is the deuce of Josh Taylor. P13 is Matt Sisler in that 45 with Jai Baxter in the 54 to his outside. Stephen Maggio in that 51, sitting P15. Justin Anisgok in the 09 to round out row number 8. Row 9 looks like Luke Allen in the 7 with John Jurgensmeyer to his outside. P19, Jarrett Cardwell in the 12. Jose Ruiz in that Team FTR number 23 for P20.
In 21st, we're going to have Jordan McGraw in the 34 car with Andrew Sanford in that 37 to his outside. P23 is going to be Tom Flitcroft in the 8 machine, who got an all-star win last week. He's got Joe Berg to his outside in that number 93. And in 25th, we're going to have Matthew Gale in the 67 with Dylan Robb in the 16 machine to his outside. 27th is Philip Bridgman, a driver spotlight tonight. He's in the 24 machine with Kevin Dallator in the 92. And 29th, we have Austin Mitty in the 9 car with Evan Knopp in P30th in that 63 machine.
Yeah, 31st is going to be Francis Hamilton in that 48, guy that we're going to have to keep an eye on for this evening, with Mike Papa Bear Campbell in that number 71, sitting 32nd. Last but not least, I think this guy loves to just try to come through the field. Talking about Brian Pizzacchemi in that 78 to round out our 33 drivers. Eliza, there's going to be a phenomenal race. Hashtag what turn 4 all night long. coming down that short chute between turns 2 and 3, about ready to light the wick and set these guys ablaze. Let's go.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun one. 80 laps are getting ready to start here. We're going to go at the green. Brody Folliker going to be on that inside with Brendan Book on his outside. Let me know if you have any predictions. Joe Turkey says, wish I was on the track tonight, but rooting for my Dart boys and Rivers and Luke. So we're missing you out here for sure, and we're getting ready to go green.
Green flag.
That green flag is in the air. Brody Falconer is going to be the first one on the loud pedal. Brendan Book in his HenderCars.com machine to the outside. As it looks like the 68, he's going to not waste any time at all. He's going to take it 3 wide going into turn 1 and the 3 right behind him.
They fan out here at Pocono. These guys are all over the place going for every spot. We talked about how position is going to be king here, and passing may be a little difficult, and you see it on this straightaway. Some of these guys are going 3 wide. No surprise here, 2 wide all the way through pretty much as we're heading into the next corner.
Yeah, Hernandez right now sitting P6, already up 2 spots by virtue of really throwing that thing low, as it looks like the 3 just got kind of out of sorts. Talking about Connor Cunningham, just lost a couple spots from P11 back to P13, but it looks like the 5 of Brendan Book, he's going to lead the pack off of turn 3, going to try to pull on down in front of the 42. He's trying to break the draft all the way down to the apron.
Takes it back up the track to get a good entry into corner 1. We're going to have Brody Folliker in that 42 right on the heels of that 5 machine. Jimmy Cocker on the outside, and we have almost 3 wide behind him. Take a look at this. Jamie Wright in that 03. We're going to have Jonathan Hernandez in that 1. Rivers Jones up here. These guys just holding it super tight currently.
Yeah, right now, Jamie Wright in that 03, sitting P4 in line. Rivers Jones just behind him, Matt Opplinger. Eliza up front, I'm seeing a lot more green as far as passes that have been made, as it looks like we might have an attempt at a pass for P number 1. See the 42 trying to throw it down low, but he cannot pull to the inside just yet. Ugh, that 42 and that 5, I think they're going to be at it all night long.
Yeah, you can see how these guys try to break that draft, diving it down low, and a couple of drivers following. But here we go, 2 wide into the first turn. Once again, Brendan Book with a nose out. We're going to have Brody Folliker try to fall back in line, unable to do so as they are still 2 wide. In row 2, we're going to have Jamie Wright with Jimmy Cocker side by side with Matthew Oppliger right there, and Rivers Jones in the 91. Still extremely tight. This is that draft package that we are seeing out here, Pete. I know that Philip Bridgman said this is a challenge because you can never really get away from anyone. I think we're not going to see that a lot tonight. We'll see these guys spread out, but not as much as they hope.
Now that draft package affecting right around mid-pack. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in that 00 last lap, now up 7 spots. It's the fastest lap of the night so far, going shake and bake purple at a 54.35. As there's just one long conga line for the most part going down the front stretch, but yet again going into turn 1, the 42 throws it low. Brendan Book way up high, hoping for a little momentum. Now the 03 of Jamie Wright keeping it low as well. As we all try to break the draft, we got a wreck.
Caution's out.
John Honeycutt into that inside wall. Josh Taylor in that 2 machine involved. A couple of drivers trying to make their way around it. Let's see if we can't find out what exactly happened out here as this caution flew.
Yeah, see the 2 come to a dead stop. He was able to lock it down, but the 50 of John Honeycutt made some serious contact with that inside wall. I'm actually kind of surprised he was able to get it going, but it looks like he's crab walking after riding that 50 machine.
I don't know if he just didn't realize that they were 3 wide, but a tough corner to go 3 wide in. So unfortunately, nowhere to go but up, and the 61 had nowhere to go along with Jimmy Cocker, who was on that high side. I'm not sure how he stayed relatively free in the contact, but that 50 machine is definitely hurting.
Yeah, 50, I can imagine a toe and then some time on pit road to try to fix that machine if it can be fixed. Honeycutt, I don't think he's going to be able to rebound from that this evening.
Yeah, I don't think so. As you said, he is crab walking, a really unfortunate circumstance considering he was looking forward to tonight's race. He just got a win here last week in the trucks and got another win. I do believe it was at Dover. Really unfortunate start to the night.
Yeah, well, he was joking around about maxing out the Team FTR card for this race, and well, that just went bust.
I
But right
think
now,
he
the
did it.
42 leading the way, the 5 of Brandon Book right behind. Jamie Wright, Rivers Jones, and Matt Opliger are the top 5. Eliza early or not yet to come down pit road?
Ah, man, with only 3 sets, I gotta say I'm staying out. It's too early.
Yeah, looks like the rest of the field would pretty much agree with you. The only car that's on pit road, of course, is the 50 of John Honeycutt. Everybody back to 32nd, which is Josh Taylor, Brian Pizzakemi, and Mike Papa Bear Campbell. It's going to be 30th, 31st, 32nd. They all stayed out as well.
5 looks like he's going in. I can see some of these driving. Well, no, he's checking back out, but I can see some of these guys going in for maybe topping off fuel. But man, I'll tell you what, we talk about position is king. I just don't want to risk the spots, and tires are definitely a no-go for only having 3 sets. It's just not worth it.
And I tell you what, one guy that was in the back and would wholeheartedly agree with you is going to be Philip Bridgman, one of our spotlight drivers. With a bunch of these guys going down pit road to top off or maybe take rights or something like that, I can only imagine what it would be. He's now up, what did I see? Just see 14 spots up to P13 for the lone Canadian in the field, driver of that number 24 Chevrolet. Mr. Bridgman, this could be a big break for him.
Oh, absolutely. We'll see what he can do with it. A lot of these drivers, I assume they are just going in for the fuel. It's great to have him up here, and we'll see what he can do with it. As you said, if he can hold on to that and keep that car under control, going back to green on these tires cooling off, I think he'll be in a good spot.
Yeah, we're going to be, 15, 16 laps from the stage break. If he can keep what he's got, maybe advance a few positions, grab some stage points, and who knows, like you said, maybe we'll be talking to him and or Connor a little bit later on. Both of them right now still very much in the running.
Absolutely. Brody's going to be leading us back to green once we get situated. The lights are still on there. Brendan Book are going to be in second, Jamie Wright in third, Rivers Jones in fourth, Matthew Opliger in fifth, Jimmy Cocker in sixth. So great to see that he did not lose many spots out here considering what happened. In fact, I think he gained a few with that maybe. Jonathan Hernandez in seventh, Thomas Harmon in eighth, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer ninth, and rounding out the top 10 is going to be Steven Maggio.
Yeah, Luke Allen right now sitting 11th, up 6 spots, with Jarrett Cardwell in the 12 up 17 spots. Jarrett in pre-race was talking about he hadn't ran Pocono in over a year. He was out here very, very early trying different lines and seeing which one was going to work for his Vogues to Go machine. So definitely wish Jarrett Cardwell a whole lot of luck. Behind him, you've got Luke Allen in the 7, Tom Flickerhoff in that 8, again after his big all-star win last week, up 10 spots to P13. P14, we just mentioned him, Philip Bridgman with Matt Gale and Connor Cunningham behind him. Andrew Sanford in that 37, up 5 spots to 17th. 18th, up 10, is going to be Kevin Dallator in the 92. 19th, Jose Ruiz up 1, and Dylan Robb to round out the top 20, up 6 spots in that number 16.
Evan making his debut, sitting in P21st for this season. Austin Mitty 22nd, Josh Taylor 23rd, Jordan McGraw 24th, and Mike Papa Bear Campbell in 25th as these guys are going through turn 2. Joe Berg 26th, Mike Owler 27th, Justin Anisagak 28th, Francis Hamilton 29th, and Brian Pizzakemi in 30th. Looks like John Honeycutt is still out there on pit road trying to fix that car. No surprise there with the amount of damage.
No, not at all. You got AK Big Boy out there in the land of Twitch saying, let's go 09. Of course, talking about Justin Anisagak right now sitting in P28, down 12 spots. But you know what? He's never won that we won't be talking about as the race goes on, as he moves forward in the running order.
Pete, we're getting ready to go back to green once again. The pace car is pulled off, and Brody Follicker going to lead us back to green. Here we go down the front stretch here, and he's going to wave that green flag as we're going through.
Yeah, Brody Follicker, oddly enough, decided to go ahead and choose the high side. He's going to have Rivers Jones right up his tailpipe in that number 91. Again, Rivers Jones, very, very fast. He's one that can absolutely get it done week in and week out. Reminds me a lot of the 42 before he got his win and ultimately his championship last season. Down the backstretch, seeing a whole lot of bumper contact going into turn 2.
Yeah, you know, with these pushes, we saw it in practice. A lot of these drivers were pushing each other super hard, even coming up to the corner, which is obviously going to make them really tight going into the corner, pushing them up the track. And then the driver behind, if he pulls it off right, he's going to make a pass underneath him. A couple of different moves that you can make in order to make a pass. But boy, oh boy, do you have to be careful and decide if it's worth the risk.
Absolutely, and we were talking about all those cars that went down pit road. Each and every one of them about a 5 to 6 second stop, so you pretty much can confirm everybody was on pit road long enough just to top off the tank, so they're able to go a little bit longer. But once they get to the stage break and a little beyond, obviously no yellows for that, but they'll be able to go a little bit further than everybody else. Or, Eliza, maybe they just wanted to keep that back end a little bit heavier, so a little bit more planted in the track. We mentioned a couple times that how loose turn 3 can be. Maybe those with a heavier gas tank may be able to get through there just a little bit better.
We will definitely see what happens, but Rivers giving Brody Follicker a nice push heading into these corners and backing that off as to not try to get him too tight and make himself too tight as he is in that dirty air behind him. But man, these guys starting to spread out as far as not going too wide, getting in that single file line, trying to get their rhythm on the track, making their way up. You see Thomas Harmon gaining 4 spots, sitting P5. Stephen Maggio in 6. He has gained 9 spots. And Tom Flitcroft, our all-star winner, up 15 spots to P8.
Yeah, a little bit further back behind them. Just watched, looked like Matt Gale in that 67 tagged the wall and saw the 3 of Connor Cunningham and a few more really get caught up just a little bit and have to give a little bit of evasive driving or defensive driving not to run into the back end of that 67 as he tagged the wall coming off 3. Now he's got a side-by-side battle with the 37 there of Andrew Sanford, again completing one more lap, working lap 11.
On board with Connor Cunningham, he's directly behind Luke Allen and in front of Philip Bridgman, who both drivers were the driver spotlight tonight. You can see that Connor Cunningham in practice was getting loose, and it looks like he's getting a little loose here in turn 1. Usually turn 3 is going to be the issue. We'll see as we are on lap 11 of 80. We're coming up on the final part of stage 1, I believe at 24. So we still have a little bit of ways to go, and man, Connor going to get cut loose as he is going underneath that apron. Definitely a sketchy spot.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to get those left side tires under that apron. Now, as the car tightens up, you might want to do a little bit more of that to help free up the car and get that car to turn hard, slap to the wall. And that's exactly what happened with the 67, the lap or 2 before that, where everybody had to kind of go wide in order to avoid any kind of carnage. The 3 didn't like car just pulling up in front of him like that. He's going to go ahead and throw it low, looking pretty fast. But they're just about 3 wide. The 303 rather backs out of that, says, nah, let's keep this going.
Yeah, it looked like Matthew Opliger tagged the wall pretty hard. That was a lot of contact and moved drivers around behind him, but he is still on the move. Glad to see there's no damage to his right front. And Real, I see you out there. I hope you're doing well. Let me know how you're doing. Man, what a wild night tonight, but it looks like Brody still in the lead here. Rivers Jones in second, Jimmy Cocker third, Thomas Harmon fourth. Brennan Book has fallen back to P6. Stephen Maggio still out there in the top 5.
Yeah, I mean, now we truly do have pretty much one long conga line all the way down the front stretch, minus a couple of cars way deep in the pack. I think maybe they've come to the realization that, hey, tires are getting a little bit more used. We just really just need the ride right now until we get closer to that stage break to where we've got to absolutely fight for the points. But yeah, that 42 leading the way.
Joe Turkey says some close racing between the 3 and the 7. Looks like some paint trading going on. Now, when we spoke to Connor, he says he absolutely loves this track. And I want to see that 7. Luke Allen has moved up to P10. So there is a bit of a separation. About 4 cars separate these drivers. 7 is making his way up through the field, gaining 7 spots. So he is doing absolutely awesome out here. He's one of those drivers where the improvement, fun to watch. And he's getting quite the push from the 03 of Jamie Wright.
Talk about quite a push. The 68 of Tom Harmon right now, P4, up 5 spots with just getting a big old shove from the HendrickCars.com number 5 for Brendan Book. Brendan Book leading that inside line. No hole for him to fill outside until just now as he ducks in right in front of the 1 of Mr. Hernandez.
Top 19 drivers had a separation between our second gap, and the second group is going to be Joe Berg leading the field in the second part. He is P20th currently. Kevin Dallator is going to be 21st with Josh Taylor, who was involved in that incident earlier on. He is going to be 22nd, Justin Anisagak in 23rd, Micah Allard 24th, and Brian Pizzakimi, he's 25th.
Yeah, 26th right now is going to be Austin Mitty in that number 9 with Jai Baxter just behind him. Francis Hamilton in that 48, P28. Jordan McGraw back in 29th. Dylan Robb 30th. Mike Papa Bear Campbell 31st. Matt Sisler in that 45, 32nd. And John Honeycutt right now back out on track, I believe, in 33rd for that number 50 Chevrolet.
Yeah, he's only down 2 laps, just trying to keep up with as much as he can, but we do have a caution out here, and it looks like it's going to involve Kevin Dallator. Let's take a look, see if we can find out what exactly happened. Like these drivers just side by side racing. It looks like the 61 going to pull down low. The 92, I don't know if there was some net code with the drivers. See if we can't bring it back here.
Looks like well, it's kind of tough to tell at that angle, but the 92 definitely went for a ride.
Definitely did. I'm seeing maybe a little bit of a tag of the wall. He comes down to bring it off there, and they made some contact, and off they go.
Yeah, that's all behind the 09 as well as the 2 of Josh Taylor. Josh, our Bristol winner from this season, he's going to be locked into the chase as the season goes on. But yeah, hard contact.
Philip Bridgman is our biggest mover of the race so far, it looks like. So I kind of want to bring him up here in the booth if I can find him. He might have, yeah, he is offline. We gave him the interview, and he's like, I am going to be off the radio now. So no interview for Philip, but it looks like he is making some good progress out here in the field.
Yeah, Philip Bridgman has continued to move up. This track definitely seems to suit his driving style, sitting P13. There we go, up 14 spots behind Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, who's been very fast this evening in that 00, and of course the 37 of Andrew Sanford. So he's still kind of holding on from where that first caution flew, and he stayed out. You never know.
A lot of drivers making their way on in for lap 16. Luke Allen included. He's up 9 spots. So a lot of drivers going in. Meanwhile, Rivers Jones, Jimmy Cocker, Stephen Maggio, and Jamie Wright stay out, along with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, Andrew Sanford, Jarrett Cardwell, and a few others.
Yeah, Connor Cunningham, Brody Falliker, Justin Aniscock, as well as a few others deciding to stay out rather. And it'll be interesting to see with these guys going down pit road as I'm looking at Brendan Book and Josh Taylor and a few more, where I'm watching that right side pop up, followed by the left. So it looks like a whole lot of 4-tire stops going on right now. The 42 is going to beat the 68 of Tom Harmon off pit road. It looks like Hernandez is going to be P3. Brendan Book right now sitting P4 off of pit road, but Rivers Jones still leading the way here under yellow.
All right, I want to give an interview to Luke Allen here. We'll see what's going on with him in his car, having a great run tonight. So let's see if we can have a chat. Luke, it's Eliza in the booth. How you doing out there?
Well, I'm doing better in the race than I thought, so pretty good.
That's a good thing. You're making up a lot of spots. I see you just went in to take fresh tires. How's your race going so far for you in the handling?
It's okay. I mean, honestly, you just got to stay on the high side and just let the draft take you to the front. I wasn't really doing anything special, but you get out of the draft and you're just toast. So
Definitely difficult. I know the draft is a huge thing. Is the dirty air affecting you guys quite a bit?
Dirty air is not too bad. In 1 and 2, and turn 3 is more of a problem. I thought the dirty air would be a lot worse. Maybe that's just because the tires haven't got too old yet. It's definitely a problem in turn 3, and that's probably the most important corner. So you definitely have to manage it there.
Absolutely. Well, I wish you luck moving forward. You're looking great out there so far, and hopefully get you some points coming into the final part of stage 1.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right. You heard it there from Luke Allen. We'll see how he does for the remainder of the race, but so far, he's looking pretty good.
Yeah, Luke Allen's a guy that's really caught fire this season. Very, very fast. I'm looking forward to seeing him work his way through the field. But one thing about Pocono, Eliza, that we haven't touched on yet, it is very, very hard to pass here at Pocono. You've really got to rely maybe on others abusing their tires a little bit more than you, or you kind of maybe going a little bit further than they are. With how wide open this track is, it's very hard to save fuel, but it can be somewhat easy to save tires and gain positions at the end of a long run.
Absolutely. It's so true. Trying to make these passes, it can be very difficult. And AK Big Boy says, get up there, Justin. I think he will be. I mean, he has so much talent. It's going to happen very soon. He's P9, so he's in the top 10. Looking solid so far. He's gained 7 spots from where he started. We just need to get him fully up there. But Rivers Jones, he's going to start us back to green as we're making our way, getting ready to go around turn 3. And we'll go back to green starting lap 19.
Eliza, is it odd or strange to you that both Rivers Jones and before him, Brody Falliker, chose the outside to restart in as we get ready to see Barney wave him on one more time? Both of them up on the high side as the pace car pulls off.
You know, I'm kind of not surprised. The outside seems like a really good option here. You can already see he's got a nice start. He's going to have that 03 of Jamie Wright. Going to give him a nice nudge. The 11 going to be on that inside. And even the 51, all these guys are going up to the top to try to get a good angle going into the first corner. And they have done so for the first about 4 drivers.
Yeah, I see the 11 really pull the inside. Here comes Steven Maggio off a big pull off of turn number 1, able to take it 3 wide. Caution's back out.
Luke Allen involved. So unfortunate to see. Let's find out if we can see what happened here. But man, I don't know if that's a booth curse. But
I was thinking that, but I wasn't going to say it.
No. Luke Allen just gets a little bit of a tap. I don't know if it's from the 24, but goes up. They were 3 wide. Oh, Pete, he's going to be like, never interview me again.
Yep. So there's Philip Bridgman that you were looking for. Gave him a little bit of a tap to complete the spin, which actually might have actually just helped the 7. If he did, it might have helped the 7 keep him out because it looked like he was going straight to the inside wall. I think if the 24 tapped him right there on the left rear to spin him back around, and he was able to lock down the tires, it kept him from getting wrecked into that inside wall.
Yeah, I think the original contact that I thought was made was him getting on that seam and getting loose. So I don't think the 24 helped spin him, but I think he definitely helped save him from the contact afterwards,
that's what I meant,
like
yeah.
you said. Yeah, absolutely. So unfortunate to see for Luke Allen, though. I hope I did not give him the booth jinx. I know a lot of drivers. Brendan has already said, do not give me an interview during the race. You have jinxed me too many times.
Yeah, in the days of having to claim cautions, I don't want to pinpoint a caution on a person because, yeah, that just goes bad later on. So great heads up racing by the 7 to lock that down. And yeah, hey, never know that spin a little bit later on, not getting too damaged, may help him in the finishing order at the end of this race.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be thankful for that. The damage out here, you saw John Honeycutt just get huge amount of damage out there and still struggling to try to get that repaired as he is sitting 33 currently. And I know he was 2 laps down. Hopefully we can get him back up here. But Luke Allen, he's looking pretty solid considering. I don't see any damage on the right front. Didn't see any on the left front. But looks like he is making his way into pit lane.
Yeah, it looks like the one and only car that really benefited from this caution going to be John Honeycutt, back to just 1 lap down. So John Honeycutt's going to be able to get 1 back, and pretty soon he'll be back on the lead lead lap. And hey, you never know exactly how much damage he had, where he's got to come back from it, how he feels about the car. But it looks like he's definitely not crab walking anymore. As you see him go between turns 2 and 3, looks pretty quick.
Francis Hamilton making his way out of pit lane. Matt Sisler is on pit road in his box. Luke Allen must have had some type of damage, but here he comes off of pit road. So we'll see him back out there on track. Meanwhile, our leader, Rivers Jones, will be going back to green. And I want to say this might be the end of stage 1. We'll see what happens here. But Jamie Wright will be in P2. Jimmy Cocker in 3rd. Stephen Maggio 4th. And Jonathan Jurgensmeyer going to round out the top 5.
Yeah, Stephen Maggio taking that 3 wide just before that yellow flew. It was going to be a very, very interesting entrance to turn 2, the tunnel turn, as if they would have kept on going from there. But Andrew Sanford right now running P6, Connor Cunningham 7th. Good run for that 3 car right now. Jarrett Cardwell in the 12 to P8, P9. Justin Aniscock and Evan Knopp to round out the top 10. Lights top the pace car should go out this time, and we'll go back green next time by.
Joe Turkey says, beautiful scheme on that number 7. Not biased opinion at all.
There you go.
I know these teammates are just so awesome. I love the camaraderie that these drivers have. It's great. So many talented drivers painting those schemes. You have to love it.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Very, very talented with that digital brush. I mean, all of these schemes from week in and week out come up with new ideas. Dylan Robb, very good. Rivers Jones is very, very good. A driver that we haven't seen in the Chicken Bake community for a while, Byron Jones, very, very good. So there's Mike Pop Bear Campbell. He's kind of coming into his own with painting cars as well. It is definitely a level of art that I envy because they absolutely look amazing out here on track.
3rd caution of the night. We're coming up on the stage 1 finish. Our top 10 drivers will receive bonus points, with the first driver crossing the line receiving 10 and 10th place receiving 1 bonus point. We'll see what happens with that. Elbows will be out as we go back to green here. If it is not called yet, we'll see what the admins have decided. They may just race it out for the final lap in stage 1. We'll find out, but hopefully we can get a nice green flag run here see how those tires go on some long laps.
Yes, the third caution about to become history. It's going to be the 91 to fire off with the 03 of Jamie Wright to his inside. Jimmy Cocker and Steven Maggio sharing row number 2. Andrew Sanford and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer round out the top 6. Evan Knopp right now back in P9 is the biggest mover, up 21 spots as we come off of turn number 3. Pace car is going to make that hard left down pit road. Eliza, let's go racing.
Green flag.
Here we go. Rivers on the throttle right there. He's got Jamie to his inside, and he's got Steven Maggio directly behind him, giving him that help, trying to get these guys moving on that outside. Yet another restart going on that outside for our leader. And here we go down into turn 1. Still on the move. We'll see what these guys can do. The 11 and the 03. Oh, very close to making some contact coming out of the exit. But man, we have trouble. The 09, Justin Anisigak gets hooked. Nowhere for him to go. That's going to be caution number 4.
Yeah, Justin Anisigak, I'm not quite sure what happened a little bit further in the back. Did see one car underneath him, kind of getting bulldogged before he got to the inside wall. So far, it doesn't look like a whole lot of damage on the front left-hand side of that zero machine. I'm sorry, that, well, 09 zero machine. So we'll have to see. I think that might have been Brendan Book that might have helped keep him out of the wall. And then Brendan Book got hooked. Then there's the 9 making hard contact to the inside wall as well. A lot of cars, much more than I thought were involved originally. It looks like the 68 and the 09 were the first ones to make contact.
That looks like a big one right there, but Justin just nowhere to go. It looks like Thomas Harmon may have come up and made some contact with him. We'll see what is decided, but we do have a system where if you cause a caution, you have to say that you caused it and get a penalty with that. So it did look like Brendan Book with a flip going down the track. Let's see if we can bring it over to him, but man, oh man. I think that's going to be one of the big ones we're going to see tonight.
Yeah, I mean, over the years, we've seen several big wrecks here at Pocono, in real life. I mean, I can remember Michael Waltrip getting into a big wreck, Casey Kane, of course, Jeff Gordon, where he lost brakes going into turn 1. I think the same thing happened with Darrell Wallace or Bubba Wallace years later. Yeah, this. With the speeds at this track, you can absolutely get yourself into trouble real quick.
Yeah, and this is one of these tracks where you can get in trouble just simply from being 3 and 4 wide, and I think some of these drivers are not realizing that they are 3 wide and 4 wide, so they're coming up the track just thinking that they have more room when they don't, and we're running into some trouble with that. Brody Fowliker looks like he is going to stay out and take over that lead. Matthew Opliger going to be in second. Jonathan Hernandez, he stays out. Joe Berg is going to stay out, gaining 20 spots. Tom Flitcroft, Matthew Gale, Jose Ruiz, and Micah Allard, Jordan McGraw, Francis Hamilton. So quite a few. Looks like about 11 or 12 drivers going to stay out.
Yeah, all these guys were last in on lap 16. These were all the drivers that we saw take 4 tires, and now they're able to stay out. These guys going in on lap 24. So there's going to be a little bit of a disparity in tires, a little bit of a disparity in race strategy. Have to see how it all plays out a little bit later on. But caution number 4 here on lap 25. A little ways to go, and if we were questioning the last, or whether it's going to be the actual stage break or not, well, that was just answered with this caution.
Absolutely. That is going to be the end of stage 1 there. And Austin says Jimmy's brake failure into turn 1 basically ended his competitive career also.
Yes.
Really unfortunate.
Yeah,
I know we
that.
brought him up pre-race in the driver interviews saying that the Lowe's paint scheme was Phillips' favorite one out there. So very interesting. Joe Turkey says still waiting for that lost Elliott Sadler footage.
Yeah, where he went airborne. I know exactly what he's talking about. The one that right after the race, I believe it was Michigan, NASCAR called Elliott Sadler up to the hauler and showed him the wreck and said, "You will never see this again." And yeah, his car was straight up and down. And if it had gone a little bit further, would have cleared the fence, pointing straight
Wow.
up. Yeah, nose was pointing straight up, tail end. And yeah, just about cleared the fence. I know exactly what Joe Turley's talking about.
That's wild. Crazy times, and that was a big one right here in lap 24, I do believe it was. These guys still making their way out. It looks like Evan is going to be on pit road. He decided to come in late here as these guys are double file heading into turn 1. See where everyone comes out.
Oh, we got two-time winners on the front row right now. Brody Falliker and Matt Opplinger. Joe Berg in that 93, who's been very fast, sitting P3. Jonathan Hernandez, who is always a threat in that number 1 Camaro. And then Matt Gale in that 67 was also down pit road on lap 16, up 20 spots to round out the top 5. I'd love to see Matt Gale get on up here, lead some laps. That 67 machine is out here every single week, and I know I've given him credit, and I'm going to do it again. This guy races from across the pond. He is 5 hours ahead of us right now. So we're talking between 1 and 2 in the morning. He's up. He's battling here with most everybody else that's stateside, and he does a great job.
He sure does. It's wild to me, some of the time differences out here. It's so cool that they spend their Monday nights or early Tuesdays out here with us. So very appreciated. We're getting ready to come into turn 3. Brody Falliker going to lead us off. And Joe Turkey said the inside wall on the backstretch at Pocono was a vicious hit.
Absolutely. I remember Dale Jr. and Steve Park coming off of turn 2, I want to say it was. They got really slideways, and Dale Jr. bulldogged Steve Park all the way into the guardrail, and they flipped several times. Pace car pulling off. 42 is going to be the first one on the loud pedal. Eliza, we're back racing. 42, let's go. 93 right behind. 20 getting a push from the 1 of Fernandez, and then the 8, Tom Flitcroft, shoving from P3 on the bottom.
Got a little bit of a checkup on that restart on the inside line. That outside moving fairly well, and I was on board with Micah Allard, and you can see these drivers just on top of each other trying to get them moving. But man, some of these drivers seem a little uneasy heading into that first corner, a little loose or maybe a little tight, but they are still moving.
Yeah, I want to imagine that the reason that they're kind of tiptoeing, if you will, into turns 1 and 2, because you don't know exactly where the person behind you is letting off, getting into that corner. You've really got to back it up somewhat early in order to carry a whole lot of speed off, more so than any other point on this track. But it looks like right now the top 6, top 7 possibly in a single file as the 42 leads that one.
Single file line until you hit around 8th place, and then they're going to go 2 wide, and it looks like the 03 of Jamie Wright, and we're going to have Rivers Jones in that 91 about to be involved, whether he likes it or not. 03 gets a little loose as he's fishtailing, but holds on to it, and right above is going to be Tom Flitcroft. That 23 of Jose Ruiz is going to tuck in behind that outside line, and it's starting to get a little sketchy, a little racy up here in the top 7 or so.
Yeah, see one car kind of blinking out. That's going to be the 00. Blinked out right in front of the 23 of Jose Ruiz. Ruiz right now up to P13. He's got Luke Allen, Jamie Wright, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer just ahead. That is definitely a moment of caution for Jose. Backed it up, but we are staying green. It looks like 00's blinking woes are over for now.
For now, we've seen him blink out a couple of times, and that's no surprise. He seems to do it every race at certain times here, but he's right behind that 8 machine, Tom Flitcroft, who's got the 61 down below. Meanwhile, the 00's got that 51, Stephen Maggio down below him. So these guys getting especially racy coming to lap 30.
Yeah, Stephen Maggio was on pit road lap 24 with that last caution. So he's got 4 brand new Eagle field goods with a pit time of just about a little over 15 seconds. As we're 3 wide, it looks like Tom Flitcroft, great save off the tunnel turn, heading to turn number 3. We stay green.
He stayed green. I'm not sure how, man, but he had a nice save on that. These drivers that are going 3 wide, I don't know if that car is just, I know it gets super tight, so it's moving them up the track, but man, some of these drivers just getting especially close. That one, luckily, they saved it. Single file up here up front. Brody Follicker going to be in first. Joe Berg up 22 spots, sitting second, having a great run so far. Matthew Opliger third. Jonathan Hernandez fourth. Rivers Jones going to round out your top 5.
Yeah, to finish out the top 10, Francis Hamilton right now up 25 spots in that number 48. I mentioned earlier, or when we were just starting after qualifying, that we were gonna have to keep an eye on him in that Chevrolet.
Contact.
The 03 of Jamie Wright. P7, P8 is going to be the 51 of Maggio. Matt Gale in that 67, and Micah Allard qualified 10th. That's right where he's running.
I'll tell you what, a scary situation here for Joe Berg. They were going 3 wide once again and a lot of contact. Joe Berg held on to it. He's getting a nice shove from Francis Hamilton in that 48. But man, oh man, these guys have no chill here tonight at Pocono. Just going for every last position that they can as we're on lap 31 of 80. Still a ton of racing left to do. We'll see if they all survive tonight. Evan, I see you out there in chat. Hope you're doing well. It is crazy here tonight at Pocono.
Yeah, everybody in that long line of draft. I believe it was the 24 or Philip Brisbane that mentioned how drafty these cars are. The draft package that surrounds the Gen 6 Cup car, and he wasn't wrong. That is why you see everybody up on that high side. They come off turn 1, open up the wheel, let that car eat all the way down the backstretch to the tunnel turn, and as we come to caution number 5 on the evening. But yeah, very, very, very drafty track.
Like Matthew Gale involved on this. We'll see if we can't find out what exactly happened. The 61 really sending it the 1 into the rear end there. Matthew Gale just nowhere for him to go. Just aggressive coming off of this all-star race from last week. I'll tell you what.
Oh, that looked like it might have been a little bit of a hook from the 1 of Hernandez.
Yeah.
Very, very, very unfortunate for both of those drivers, and they never saw it coming.
Go back and see if we can't find out from Jonathan Hernandez his point of view. We'll try to go on board with the chase cam, and from your size. Yeah, he just straight sends it. The 61 moving up the track, and he just moves on. Kind of wild.
Yeah, 61 now kind of crab walking himself all the way to pit road. Fortunately enough, he didn't have to tow it, which takes, at a track like Pocono, the size of this place, would have taken a good 2 to 3 minutes. So luckily enough, he'll be able to bring that thing down pit road by himself and won't have to wait extra time for the AMR trucks to get to him.
That is a wild look to be going slideways through the corner without actually being sideways. I don't know. It's a wild look when that happens, but wheels definitely out of alignment. He's going to have to make his way onto pit lane. He's got a lot to fix up here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he's a wheelman, loves to actually race like that, loves the drifting. He was having fun in turn 3 with the loose car that they are in the beginning of a run. But yeah, that's not what he wanted to see this evening.
See how he makes it in his stall here, but his tires don't look as crooked as they could be considering how crooked he is crawling. But
right.
Yeah. He's definitely got some damage, and let's take a look. Brody Follicker stays out. Matthew Opliger stays out. Quite a few drivers do, in fact, the top 20.
Yeah, the top 3 right now, we're all last on pit road, lap 16. Francis Hamilton was in on lap 20. Pretty much the next 5 to 6 cars all came down on lap 24. So a little bit of difference in the age of the tires within the top 10. So it's going to be interesting to see who tries to push the envelope just a little bit more than others, or if it causes any kind of a disparity in speed and possibly contact going into 1 or maybe the tunnel turn.
Stephen Maggio and Rivers Jones, Jamie Wright, Jurgensmeyer, they all have 8-lap-old tires. which is just twice as fresh as the top few. So we'll see if they can make any moves. But again, it is difficult to make a pass here. But man, I'm a little surprised at how aggressive we're seeing these drivers. And when you're making it 3 wide and you're just, I don't know if they're not sure they are going 3 wide, but yeah, a different type of race here.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we're working lap 33, going to be coming to halfway here very, very soon. These guys being very, very aggressive, trying to take whatever they can right at the beginning of this race. They don't want to wait to see if somebody comes back to them. They know how hard it is to pass. So they might just be taking while the taking is there, so they don't have to run them down later on, or possibly be able to run them down later and make that very, very hard to make pass.
Lining them up 2 wide. We will go back to green this time around. Brody Folliker just doing an amazing run tonight. Led quite a few laps. Matthew Opliger, no surprise, he's up here. Francis Hamilton up 28 spots. Joe Berg up 20. So huge movers playing a little strategy game, and you have to love it. We'll see how it plays out in the long run. But we got John Honeycutt. He has made his way back into pit lane. He did make it up to around 24th or so, but he is going in to try to fix more damage.
I don't blame him. The more damage he can fix without going a lap down is going to be better for him in the long run. Right now, the field is between turns 1 and 2. Honeycutt a little bit further in the back. It still looks like you got the 27th, 28th, 29th, and 30th place cars to catch up. Looks like the lights on the pace car are going to stay out. And Eliza, we're going to go back green this time as they get to the tunnel turn.
Get these guys ready, and we'll see how aggressive they choose to stay. But man, oh man, it's going to be tight all night. It's just a lot of draft out here and a lot of tight racing. I don't think there's going to be really a lot of give just yet.
No, I don't think so either. I think everybody's trying to get what they can while they can get it and deal with the consequences a little bit later on. But here we go. We're going to go back green. Pace cars again going to go ahead and make that hard left turn towards pit road. 42, Brody Folliker is your leader. Started on pole this evening. Matt Opliger started back in P6. Right now, he's on the outside. Here we go. Back green flag racing. The 42 getting a big old shove from the 48 of Francis Hamilton. 20 not quite there on the restart.
See how these guys go 2 wide all the way through, except for our leader, Brody Folliker. We're going to have Francis Hamilton beside that 20 machine of Matthew Opliger. These guys, man, it is just so incredibly tight. No room for mistakes. I'll tell you what, this track is very wide, Pete, but it is not exactly as wide as you think. Your car moves up that track in these corners. It is a very, very tight car, and I'm seeing all sorts of drivers making a lot of contact with the wall coming out of 2.
I just watched the 42 get shoved by the 48. 48 was getting shoved by the 91, and then the 00 of Jurgensmeyer was back there as well. The 20 of Matt Opliger just says, you know what, I'm pulling down. I want none of this. Y'all go ahead, wreck yourselves. I'll see you in a little bit. But yeah, they were getting squirrely off of these, what you'd call Daytona or Talladega shoves getting into the corner.
Taking a look from the blimp cam here, the 20 moving back. He's on the inside. He's going to have to find a hole and make his way to the top side. Yet these guys still on the move. Brody having a nice line going into that turn 2. We'll see how he makes his way out. This is where a lot of drivers make contact, especially coming out of 3. It's loose in the first few laps on fresh tires. Then it just goes to tight everywhere. See how long that takes.
Yeah, it looks like Matt Opliger finally found a hole behind the 3 of Connor Cunningham. Connor right now sitting P9, Opliger in 10th, right ahead of the 7 of Luke Allen. Big gains back for driver 7 after that wreck that he was involved in earlier. Right now, Luke sitting P11, trying to crack back his way into the top 10.
He's had a great run in it. It's shown that you just can't give up because a lot of these drivers have been involved in an incident and yet have found their way back up in the top part of the track. But Francis Hamilton, new leader here. Brody Follicker going to be second. So hopefully Francis, if he can lead coming to the line, he'll get that bonus point for leading a lap. And man, I think I just saw another driver hit the wall, and it might have been Tom Flitcroft. He's got that 20 to the outside, which I'm really surprised that 20 backed out of that top portion. I know him and Brody have had some contact in previous races, and both got wrecked out, but man, very interesting to say the least.
Yeah, that 48 Detroit Tigers machine for Francis Hamilton. He's going to come across now up 30 spots. Since qualifying, definitely the biggest mover. He's going to gain a point for leading a lap. Rivers Jones and Brody Follicker right now second and third. Joe Berg in that 93, and Steven Maggio to round out the top five. Eliza up by that wall is where you want to be, because that's where the draft is going to pull you along in the running order. If you're down low like the 3 of Connor Cunningham is right now, you're losing spots.
Francis looking good, and we've talked about him just doing great in this qualifying runs. Just you can see a huge improvement for him with that. Now I want to see it in the race, and I want to see him in the booth after these, and he's another one. We say that we're going to see some of these drivers get a win. Brody Follicker goes in. Not sure what's going on with him, but he is on his way into pit lane.
Yeah, on pit road all by himself. Very, very unfortunate. To kind of keep an eye on how long he spends on pit road. Not quite sure if he's having some kind of an issue with his equipment or if something else going on within the Follicker household, but he's going to pull into that number 1 pit stall right behind the parked iRacing car, and it looks like he's taking tires. So something might have been going on. Maybe didn't feel quite right, and nope, he's out.
I'm kind of interested. I was about to say maybe, because I know he was talking about doing a start in park tonight. Said he had to be out by 9:20. It is now 9:30.
Right.
So yeah, there he is.
I forgot all about that.
Yeah. But Francis Hamilton still in the lead. Rivers Jones second, Joe Berg third, Steven Maggio fourth, Jamie Wright fifth, Matthew Opliger in sixth, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer seventh, up 11 spots. Justin Anisagak, we got trouble. Tom Flitcroft hard into the wall there.
Yeah, saw he had the tires all kinds of locked up, but still making some contact with that inside wall. And unfortunately, he was doing it with the passenger side. So that tells me kind of had a little issue being spun.
Yeah, Connor Cunningham looks like he went up into that 8 car and got tagged there. Nothing Tom could do about it, but here he goes. He's crab crawling, looks like just a little bit, so he's going to have some to repair on that machine.
But luckily enough, just like what happened with John Honeycutt and Mike Allard, yeah, he's crab walking away from that. He's going to be able to drive it down pit road versus having to spend all that extra time towing it. So, all right, we are under caution number 6. Francis Hamilton was in the lead, did not want to see that. Rivers Jones, P2, Joe Berg, P3, Steven Maggio, 4th, Jamie Wright in P5, P6 going to be Matt Opliger, Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, 7th, Justin Anisagak in that 09, P8, P9, Luke Allen, and Jose Ruiz brings it to the top 10 spot, up 10 spots after starting in 20th.
Great run for a few of these drivers. And, you know, I'm kind of wondering at this point, Pete, I think we'd have to take a look at who has not been involved in an incident tonight. I mean, we are just stacking these drivers up who have been involved in an incident and received just a little bit of damage at least. So I'm kind of curious how many drivers have, and is that short list on the who has not?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Jose Ruiz has had any kind of issue. I don't think we've mentioned Jarrett Cardwell as part of any kind of a caution. Mike Papa Bear Campbell back there in P16, up 16 spots in that number 71. Jordan McGraw in that Texas number 34. Right now he's sitting 18th. So there's a few of them out here that I don't think we've really mentioned as being part of any kind of an issue on track. But as you just mentioned or kind of alluded to, it's a very short list.
Here we go. A lot of drivers making their way in. Francis says, nah, not this time. He's liking that lead, and I kind of want to see if we can't give him an interview and see how his race is going. Hopefully, no jinxes coming out here, right? I'm a
He
little
may
nervous.
not like us.
I know. I would deny us too. I'm being honest here. All right, we got Francis Hamilton. How you doing out there? It's Eliza in the booth.
Yeah, we're doing all right.
Hey, it's been a wild race. A few cautions out there. You've made your way up 30 spots to find yourself in the lead. How you gonna keep that?
Well, now that everybody pit for tires, I don't know how long we will keep it, but we'll try our best. Gonna try and save a set. If we get a caution like 10 laps, it's gonna look like a genius. If it goes green, it's gonna look like an idiot. So, yeah, we'll see how it goes.
You're looking great out there, and I wish you a ton of luck. Hopefully, we'll see you in the booth afterwards. But man, I'm loving the speed that you're showing out here. We talked about your qualifying efforts, and the speed that you have is just definitely something great to watch.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Trying my best.
All right, well, we'll see what happens out here, and yeah, we'll get you back down the team there.
Thank you.
All right, Pete. I can't even find his team. Let's see here.
I was in pit row, by the way.
All right, thank you for telling me. I'll put you somewhere random, more than likely. All right, I'm struggling here tonight trying to, because everyone is mixed up. No one is where they should be, so I've probably put a few in the wrong team channels. Very interesting, but Francis Hamilton having a great run. You see, we got Jurgensmeyer going to be, looks like 48 might take that outside, and Jonathan Jurgensmeyer might take the inside. We'll see what happens here.
Yeah, Francis Hamilton, definitely one of the guys that does not look or does not sound like his profile picture. Not at all.
I need to ask him one day what the story is on that, because I really have to know.
He's a comedian, I tell you. But yeah, it looks like he did actually choose the outside. He's going to have Jonathan Jurgensmeyer in that 00, a guy that's been fast and has been able to work his way around the field from, I want to say, I've seen him as far back as about 10th. Right now, back up to P2. So with those that went down pit road, Andrew Sanford, Jarrett Cardwell now sitting P4, and Rivers Jones in that 91. Very, very fast top 5 right here, Eliza.
Sure are. We're moving through turn 1 coming up to lap 44. We have 6 cautions. This has been one of the messier races that we've had in the recent races. And remember, we do have those penalties. So if you cause 1 caution, you get an EOL. If you cause 2, you're getting a lap hold. And after that, you don't want to have it happen, because I believe I want to say that you get parked. Yeah, you dig into points, and it can get a little messy. So you definitely want to keep it as clean as possible. And most of these wrecks that I've seen are people going 3 wide when I'm not sure they knew. And as we were saying earlier, this track is wide, but it feels a lot tighter and closed in just simply because the track is tight and you're going to move up the track on the exit of these corners.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad that you mentioned the exit of the corners, because that could be a very big culprit for what we're seeing as far as the 3 wide racing. Somebody behind getting a great run coming off the corner, they take it 3 wide because they don't want to check up and get back in line. They want to take that corner and the momentum off the corner for all they can, and that could be. Again, I'm just kind of guessing here, but we're going back green. That's something I don't have to guess about. Francis Hamilton first on the loud pedal in that Detroit Tigers number 48 Chevrolet, the 00 of Jonathan Jurgensmeyer. Guessed that restart time perfectly, side by side going into 1.
Yeah, that restart was incredible for Jonathan Jurgensmeyer on that 00. And he was going to push that 48, not go down quickly in that corner. Oh, huge trouble going on the exit of that corner here. We talked about it. These exits are just absolutely brutal. These guys on fresh tires, we're going to have to find out what exactly happened, but another big one. We're going to have some frustrated drivers tonight, Pete.
Yeah, I see the 7 involved, the 92, the 8 of Tom Flitcroft, the 5 of Brendan Book. Looks like Jose Ruiz is having to back his 23 away from the wall. A lot. I see the 68 involved in this one again. The 16 of Dylan Robb. It's very, very unfortunate. I think Eliza, that was like a super speedway wreck right there. You'd be talking more about those that weren't involved than those that were.
Yeah, that was pretty brutal.
Oh, just clogged up the track. Wow.
The 03 looks like he came up the track a little bit, hooked some guys, and the 7 hard on those brakes and just absolutely rocketed into another car. A lot of drivers. I want to say like over 10 at least involved in that
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, I mean, the 03, we talked about him being very, very fast. He's parked on the inside wall. I mean, man, a lot of very fast cars, some drivers that we've talked about earlier in this race as being closer to the front will be spending a lot of time on pit road to repair some damage.
And he just flies up that track and tags another one. Just really unfortunate. Really, really tough one.
Airborne.
Joe Turkey says we expect track blockers at Dover, not Pocono. The track is wide. We talked about it, but man, oh man. Luke Allen. A lot of damage on that car. So unfortunate. Definitely got to come in and get that repaired.
Yeah, I mean, right now it looks like Jamie Wright's on pit road, Jose Ruiz, Mike Papa Bear Campbell, Micah Allard, Jai Baxter, Brody Falker. Well, we saw him pull off. Josh Taylor, Philip Bridgman. I'll have to see how more come on down pit road. Here comes Jimmy Cocker, Jarrett Cardwell, Kevin Dallator, Matt Gale. I mean, more and more coming to the attention of their pit crew to repair as much of these cars as possible.
Our top 10 drivers stay out. Jimmy Cocker and the rest of them go in. I know Francis Hamilton, he was talking about if a caution comes out. So we'll see what's going on. 7th caution of the night, and we're just over the halfway mark. We still have a lot of racing left here at Pocono, but it has been a brutal night of racing for sure.
One thing about all those guys that are on pit road right now fixing up their cars, with the size of Pocono, they can spend a lot of time on pit road fixing up as much damage as possible, pull out ahead of the pace car, zip around. If their car is capable of going at a decent speed, come on back down pit road, fix up a little bit more without going a lap down unless you had to tow, and then come on back out and line up and get ready to go back at it again. So we'll have to see. Watching the 48 and the 00 play tag in the rear view mirror, 37 right behind. Then you've got the 91 rather, of Rivers Jones, and then Steven Maggio right now up 10 spots in that 51 to round out the top 5. Matt Oppliger back there, Joe Berg, Connor Cunningham right now sitting 8th, Tom Harmon up to 9th spot. So I guess maybe I misspoke that he was part of that. And then Brian Pizzakemi in that number 78, the guy that started tail end Charlie, right now rounds out the top 10 up 23 spots.
Tell you what, Brian Pizzakemi, he's kind of snuck under the radar. We haven't seen or talked much about him besides seeing that he started in dead last. No surprise there. He usually does, but man, interesting night as he makes his way up 23 spots after that huge pileup coming out of the exit. Just absolutely treacherous out there. We'll see how these guys move going on, but man, there are a lot of cars missing still.
Yeah, there are. I mean, we're only looking at maybe 8 or 9 rows, maybe 20 cars on the track right now. Austin Mitty is trying to catch up in that number 9 Napa machine. John Honeycutt's just ahead of him. So John Honeycutt, sticking with it all night long. He was part of the very first caution flag that flew tonight. So he went multiple laps down. Now he's back on the lead lap and inside the top half of the cars that have been on track tonight.
All right, let's have our fingers crossed that we can get a nice green flag run going here. Lap 47 coming to 48. I know it can be done, but man, oh man, it's just tough because a lot of drivers don't want to give up those spots. We had a conversation about it in the past couple of weeks where they are saying if you let off the throttle, you're going to lose a lot of spots, and a lot of drivers are just not willing to do that because that draft is so important. It constantly keeps you up here. So when you're going 3 wide, 4 wide, and you're not sure that you are, and you're moving up the track from how tight it is, you're going to run into trouble. And we've seen it time and time again.
Absolutely. Coming off of turns 3 and 4, lights atop the pace car are out, Eliza. We're going to go back green to start lap 48 of 80. So just 32 more laps around the Pocono Tricky Triangle here in the Pocono Mountains. Barney's got the green flag. We're back underway. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer gives it a stab to that loud pedal. He's got Francis Hamilton, Rivers Jones, and Matthew Opliger to round out the top 4. A few others in the back kind of fading out a little bit. They don't want to be part of anything. If their car's a little bit slower, they want everybody else to be able to go on right around as the 00 leads the way down the backstretch.
Matthew Opliger and that red and black and white machine sitting P3rd gave Rivers Jones a nice push going up to the front. Now he is on top of that 00 currently, and we have a single file line for our first several drivers, and then 37 is going to be Andrew Sanford and Brian Pizzikimi. These guys were 2 wide. Now it's going to be Jarrett Cardwell in that 78. These guys still on top of each other going through the corner. That's going to be turn 3 coming down the front stretch.
Absolutely fanning out coming off turn 3. Not quite sure if it's due to looseness or just being careful in case it looked like the car ahead of them was going to tag that wall on exit. But yeah, Jarrett Cardwell, you just mentioned him right now, sitting P9, so cracked the top 10, able to drive his way on up, maybe trying to follow Brian Pizzikemi right ahead of him. He figures if Pizzikemi was able to work his way from the back, must have a pretty clean, pretty fast hot rod, try to work his way through as they draw a bead on the 93 and the 51 of Steven Maggio.
Yeah, I'm bored with these guys. 93 hard into the wall. He somehow saves it in the 78. He almost got tagged by that, but he's going to take it way down low and have another caution.
Caution's going to wave for the 8th time this evening. This one wasn't up front, surprisingly enough. In what is the main pack, there's going to be somewhere a little bit further in the back.
Flitcroft looks like he is into the wall. Just a tough night. He comes off the wall, snags it, and comes down low, hits Kevin Delator. Just nowhere for Kevin to go, and he makes contact with the inside wall.
Yeah, it looks like the 8 might have just got loose, maybe back on full throttle, because he was going straight there for a little bit, and then just all of a sudden looked like it snapped. So I'm not 100% sure what happened with the 8 of Tom Flitcroft. Maybe had a little bit of a wheel issue, or his pedals weren't getting up to full speed, and when they finally caught, it broke traction. I don't know. That's a hard one to look at.
Absolutely. I know Tom has had a frustrating night. Not exactly what he hoped. I know he's talked about frustrations throughout the season and how some of his races just no luck for him. And tonight, just into the wall once again. I think he's been involved in a few incidents out there. And you see him making his way onto pit road, trying to get those repairs made.
Yeah, Tom Flitcroft again. I don't know if he'd trade in last week's All-Star win for a points win, but he looked absolutely bad fast last week at Legacy, Texas. Got the All-Star win, so it's something he can brag about all season long until we get back to it next year, and then, hey, who knows? But you know what, Eliza, he shines a whole lot at super speedways, and when I look at the Shake and Bake schedule for the rest of the season, Kansas, you can call that a high line speedway, Iowa, Darlington, Charlotte, but we've got Talladega in the middle of May, for the second race of the chase for the Cup. And then, of course, the Bad Fast Michigan until we get to Atlanta to wrap up the season in the middle of June. A lot of great racing yet to come, and I know Flitcroft's going to be there to be part of it.
Top 13 drivers out on the track here. Meanwhile, we have everyone else in there trying to get those repairs made, and a few drivers on their way out. And Joe Turkey says, wonder if his damage has his toe messed up. Sometimes they get snappy if there's a bent wheel. You know, that very well could be the case. I know he's been involved in a few things, and some of these drivers just really limping it out here, trying not to go down several laps. We'll see if that's the case for him, but he is still in his pit stall trying to get those repairs made.
Very, very unfortunate for our all-star winner. But Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, with all that, glad to see it happen in the rear view. Rivers Jones in the 91 is going to restart second. Matt Oplinger third. Connor Cunningham, we talked to him during a pre-race, and we mentioned, hey, it'd be good to maybe talk to you for a podium finish. Right now, running fourth, up 7 spots. Good run for that number 3. And then Steven Maggio rounding out the top 5. Seems like Maggio's been around the top 5, top 10 all night long. He's always a threat when it comes to the end of a race.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I feel like he is always up there within the top 5 or 10, and I feel like I've given him more interviews than I can count after the race. So always a driver to be competitive out in the finish part of the race. You see Matthew Opliger up there, Connor Cunningham, Rivers Jones, very strong drivers. Brian Pizzakimi, he's been finishing really, really well out here in the last several races, so I would not be surprised to see him in the booth once again.
Yeah, Brian Pizzakimi, he's got Jimmy Cocker and Tom Harmon just behind to round out the top 10. So it looks like we got more and more kind of catching back up. I see that that 09 machine, he's been able to rejoin the back end of the field, and it looks like he has brought Matt Gale and Jamie right with him. Kevin Dallator, Brendan Book, Matt Sisler still on track to round out the top 25, the one and only Tom Flitcroft that we were just talking about. But how about the 48, Eliza? He is mired back in traffic now, right around P15. He's going to have to deal with everything that he hasn't had to deal with for a little while now.
Yeah, you know, that's what I call the hornet's nest. Not a fun place to be, especially at a track like this where position is huge, and he is not in a good one currently. He's going to have a lot of cars to contend with, a lot of dirty air, which some drivers are saying is not as a big of an issue as they thought it would be. So hopefully it won't be as bad, but I'll tell you what, these cars going up the track, coming out of the corners, that can be a little deadly, as proven here tonight.
Yeah, it really can. These guys going to have to mind their P's and Q's here for a little bit. We're going to go back green to start lap 53 of 80. Live from the Tricky Triangle. Again, this is the Shake and Bake iRacing Gen 6 Cup Series. Working from Pocono International Raceway right up Route 115, Pocono Mountains. Let's get ready to go back.
On board with Jonathan Jurgensmeyer is going to be on his go. Rivers Jones on the outside, and he is already off and running. A relatively good start for that 91, as he's not going to have a clue that the restart is going on. So he really has to just time that right. And we see a couple of drivers taking it down super low. You can see one of them, I want to say, is Pizzakimi, but no, that's going to be the 48 of Francis Hamilton.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. Jurgensmeyer started on the bottom and just very, very quickly jumped up in front of the 91 of Rivers Jones. If he wanted the high side, why wouldn't have just chose that? Unless a little bit of teamwork there in order for them to be able to get up on the high side. No fight, no issue to get back up in what is clearly the fast line around this track.
You know, it very well could be the case, and sometimes you just hear a driver say, I forgot, and I didn't call it in time. So kind of curious which one it is, but man, these guys starting to get a little racy up here at the top 3. You can see him taking a little bit different line, that 20 all over the back bumper of the 91. The 91 in a sandwich. I'm not sure I would like that sandwich if I were that 91, but here we are going into turn 1.
Yeah, 20 shoving the 91 all the way to the back bumper of that double O, getting into turn one. The double O really going to have to check up, hoping that he's going to be able to make his entrance. Looks like 20 backed up backed up in just enough time for the 91 and the double O be able to hit their line and get into and off of the corner. Now down the back straight, still nose to tail.
Coming down the final corner here, you do have to whoa it up quite a bit to try to make it to that inside. You can see him staying right above that seam there and getting a nice exit. He's going to have to burp it. The throttle coming off and going on that straight as we enter with 26 laps to go. These guys are still green. Fingers crossed we keep it that way.
Well, they're still green. Brian Pizzagami now shake a big purple, posting the fastest lap right there after being on pit road, lap 41 with a time of 54:26. So beating Jimmy Cocker's old fastest lap by 2/100ths of a second. Pizzagami moving up to P8 after starting shotgun on the field. Tom Harmon right behind him, Jimmy Cocker right ahead, and before him, Stephen Maggio had just gone purple with a 31. So these guys throwing them back and forth. But right now, the double O has the entire field in his rear view.
Yeah, this is the point of the race where pressure's on a little bit. You're going to see these guys having a really hard time trying to make up those positions. So on these restarts, things get a little chaotic, and they're trying to do whatever they can to gain that next spot. And the 93, we're going to see it try to take it down low. He decides not to, but no, he keeps taking a peek on the inside, but keeps it up high. Stephen Maggio going down low, the 93 on the inside of Connor Cunningham in that 3 machine. Maybe a little bit of contact, but these guys cutting it close.
Yeah, the 3 was getting a little squirrely off the 93's front bumper earlier. Maggio pulling up to the inside of the 93, maybe trying to side draft him just a little bit. They're both sideways, coming over the tunnel turn. 51's going to lose that spot. 93 takes it. Top 4 is starting to drive away.
Brian Pizzagami going side by side with Jimmy Cocker, and it looks like Jimmy Cocker keeping it in that middle line. He is going to be having Brian Pizzagami out in front. That's going to put Brian at 7th, Jimmy Cocker in 8th, Thomas Harmon in 9th, and Francis Hamilton up 21 spots to P10.
Yeah, the last restart, Francis Hamilton, I mentioned it during that time, he was in P15. So he's putting those 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods to good use. Right behind the 68 of Tom Harmon. Harmon right now qualified 9th. That's exactly where he runs. Same thing with Rivers Jones in that number 91 Ford Mustang. He started 3rd, currently running 3rd.
Top 3 drivers looking a little racy, and oh my gosh, the 20 somehow saves it. He gets loose. Jonathan Jurgensmeyer, a lot of damage. It gets shoved up in the air, and there's no way. Yeah, here comes the caution.
How are you doing there,
just
bud?
pure chaos through that.
I just saw the back end of the double O get lifted in the air. Not quite sure if the double O tried to check up a whole lot more as he gets plowed from the backside by the 50 of John Honeycutt, and then Honeycutt gets hit again. Honeycutt just unfortunately cannot catch a break. Hellacious wreck here.
Man, just so much to unpack with that one, but let's try to take it back here. See Matthew Opliger. He tries to check up, made some contact with that wall, and that's going to put him down low. You see him get loose. He didn't make contact with the wall. He got loose, and the double O gets put into the wall, tries to save it, and gets just hit in the rear from the 78 and the 68. Just did not see it coming and just shoves him right up in the air. And the 50,
Yeah.
Oh man, brutal.
Yep. The double O gets hit from behind, then gets put up into the outside wall, and just nowhere to go for some others. When you got a car that's parked across the track, as soon as you exit turn 2, you can't see anything except for the smoke.
Jonathan Jurgensmeyer just having a hard time keeping it off the wall even. I think he's going to have to tow it as he makes his way in. Just couldn't even drive it straight out there, so we'll see how long that's going to be. Tom Flitcroft, he is out there. John Honeycutt once again back on pit road, but I'll tell you what, like you said, he has not given up. Just tough. We have Luke Allen, -3 laps. Jose Ruiz, -5. Mike Campbell, -9. So tough night for a lot of these guys.
Yeah, I was just watching or looking at the running order right now. It really seems everybody from about P10 on track, but from P24 at least on back, 1 lap or more down. Pocono has definitely had a lot of attrition this evening.
I think it was a little unexpected. You know, maybe it's just me, but I did not expect this much mayhem out here. It's kind of surprising. I know it's a drafty track and whatnot, but man, it has been brutal out here.
Joe
Joe
Turkey says Dallator and Honeycutt always seem to find each other.
I think tonight there's a few drivers that are finding each other quite a bit. Matthew Opliger still going to be leading us once again back to the green. Rivers Jones in second, Joe Berg in third, Stephen Maggio in fourth, Jimmy Cocker in fifth. He's been a little bit quiet tonight, just hanging out here in the top part of the field. We'll see how he finishes out. Connor Cunningham having a great race. We saw earlier trouble with him, but he is up currently to P6. Francis Hamilton up 24 spots, P7. Andrew Sanford 8th. Evan out there in 9th, and Dylan in the top 10.
Yeah, Austin Mitty right now sitting P11 in that Napa number 9, up 18 spots. Justin Anasagak was part of a wreck earlier this evening, sitting P12, up 4. Brendan Book down 11 to P13. Jonathan Hernandez, just saw him on pit road in that number 1, sitting P14. 15th going to be Jamie Wright, Jarrett Cardwell in 16th, Tom Harmon 17th, Matt Sisler 18th, Matt Gale is going to be 19th, and Tom Flickcroft in that number 8 right now, sitting in P20.
Pete, I don't know if it's my eyes at this point in the race, but Jarrett Cardwell looks like he's doing a little bit of crab walking. It could be just me, though.
I would certainly hope not. He was very, very fast in practice, pretty quick in everything that he's done in this number 12 machine pretty much each week. This is another driver that I continue to watch every single season, or now in his second full-time season in Shake and Bake. Obviously runs the open wheels in the F1 or the Indy series, and I mean, I remember his first race at Daytona finished P4. I was like, where did he come from? And he's been very, very fast, and all of Team FTR continues to help him to get better each and every week. I think it's just going to be a matter of time before he can put a full race together and visit victory lane in that number 12.
Well, we'll see. Joe Turkey says it's great fun on track, but we'll have a decent amount of chaos, and that is exactly what we're seeing. I've run several laps here, a lot of fun, but I'm curious how many drivers tonight are finding it fun. But we're getting ready to go back to green this time, coming up 20 to go. Still quite a bit of racing left. I do not think that we have seen our final caution of the night. You guys know that when these final few laps come out, that's when the elbows are out and things get even a little more crazier. We'll see. I would love to keep it green, but experience has told me otherwise.
Yeah, coming back to green, we saw the 91 Rivers Jones really judge the last restart very, very well, or maybe the restart before that, as we see Matt Opliger decide to come on down to that bottom lane. He's going to have the 91 to his inside. They're going to stay 2 by 2, at least 3 rows deep. Going into turn 1, the 91 thought he was going to be clear, trying to slide up track. 20 of Matt Opliger says not so much. They're going to take it 3 wide for the lead.
51 hard to the inside, making it 3 wide, now 2 wide, and he's going to be 2 wide for the lead with the 20 on his outside. We'll see what kind of momentum he has coming off this corner, but he has no help, so I would say that 20 is going to have the momentum he needs to secure that lead and keep it. We're heading into the final quarter here as we're going 19 to go with the 51. He's doing a heck of a job out there on that inside, and he's going to take it to the lead.
Yeah, I mean, that was a great example of what I was talking about earlier, Eliza, about coming off the corner just a little bit faster than the guy that you're in front of, and you've got to take that run somewhere. You can't check up because you lose too much time. The 51 chose to dive to the inside. He pulled up side by side with the 20, maybe tried a little bit of side drafting, but in the end, Steven Maggio is at the point.
Yeah, he did a great job with that, and you can see single file line as these drivers are making their way through that second corner, and they're going too wide mid-pack, trying to find out where they can go. A hard smack to the wall. Connor Cunningham down low, the 63 up high, the 37 of Andrew Sanford. He is going single file. That's going to put him P8. It is absolutely crazy out here. More contact to the wall.
Yeah, we're seeing contact to the wall. I mean, off of turn 2, obviously off of turn 3. You know, Eliza, the very first race that I ever got to see at Pocono, my uncle took me when I was a little bit younger, is when Jeremy Mayfield wrecked Dale Earnhardt to take that win. As I watched the 3 come off the corner right there with the 16, I want to say, with Dylan Robb to his outside, kind of brought that memory back real quick. But the 3 down the Long Pond straightaway, right behind that 16 and right ahead of the 5 of Brendan Book.
You can see Dylan kind of floating up the track. He's got it hard turn, but man, it is tough out here. Race Affinity, thank you so much for the raid. Juice, thank you for the follow. You guys are awesome. Welcome. I hope everyone is doing great. It is a wild night here at Pocono. Coming up, 17 to go. Things are going to get very, very interesting as we're making our way into the first turn here at Pocono Raceway.
Yeah, it looks like Matt Opplinger was able to get on by the 51 of Steven Maggio. These guys have been playing swap the lead. Here comes Justin Anasagak. Where'd he come from in that number 09? Right now, trying to get to the inside, has to fall back just a little bit. Had a little bit of a toe off the 20, but now he's the guy on the inside with no help at all. 17 to go.
A lot of risk out here as these guys are making a ton of contact hard into the wall for some of these drivers. Looks like it's going to be Francis Hamilton. He holds on to it, but man, oh man, this race for the lead is definitely heating up, and we still have quite a bit to go. Juice Racing says, yeah, I'm pretty awesome. Great to hear. Thank you so much again for the raid. You guys, Race Affinity, the raid is awesome. Juice for following. Man, this race, look at him diving down to the inside. Matthew Oppliger on the outside. Steven Maggio going for that lead. We've seen him plenty of times, Pete, diving it in there, making up a position. The 09 trying to follow, but he's got no help.
Yeah, he's got no help on that inside whatsoever. The 20, the 51, the 09, the 91, the 48, the 48 and the 09 were last on pit road between lap 58 and 50. So they've got the freshest tires. Everybody else was on pit road last lap 41. So look for fresher tires beyond them. You're going to be looking back to about P11 with Brendan Book, John Hernandez, and Dylan Robb. With that 51 right now, he's trying to extend that lead just a little bit as a few more tagging the wall coming off 3.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of damage with these drivers if they continue to make contact with that outside wall. We've talked about them drifting up from getting tight. Take a look at this 09 really diving it in, unable to make up to the lead, but he takes over that P2 spot right behind Steven Maggio. So a great run for Justin, as he has not had a relatively great race earlier on.
No, he hasn't. He had a mirror full of the 20 going into turn 1, all the way down the backstretch, pulling side by side with the 51 of Maggio. Again, Maggio's tires were new on lap 41. Justin Anasagak was last on pit road, lap 58, so they should be able to dial him up pretty quick. Now the 09 battling with the 20. Behind them is the 91, Rivers Jones, and then Francis Hamilton to round out the top 5.
These guys making me nervous out here. Take a look. They were making some contact side by side going down the front stretch here. Just absolutely incredible. Elbows are out as we are 14 to go. Anything can happen here. We've seen a lot of drivers make some contact with that wall with each other. The 48 once again making contact with the 91 this time. The top 10 or so drivers just on top of each other. You cover them with a blanket.
Yeah, 48 with a great save after getting a little bit of contact to the back bumper. Here comes Joe Berg in the 93, sitting P4, up 20 spots, the biggest mover inside the top 5. Francis Hamilton in that 48 Detroit Tigers machine, though, up 25 to sit P6. The 51 has had troubles with the 20. The 91 now looking inside of the 20, coming off of turn number 3.
Ooh.
Hashtag what turn 4? We got some contact with the wall, forcing the 3 to go wide. Everybody else able to stay single file.
I'll tell you what, these guys are making me a nervous wreck. I'm on the edge of my seat just waiting to see what's going to happen next, but they hold on to it. Absolutely incredible. The TSH, oh, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Held Track, you're awesome. Thank you so much. The 3 into the wall. He makes contact. Drivers having to scramble down low to make it around him. Andrew Sanford makes his way around. Brendan Book also. So Connor Cunningham going to lose a couple of spots.
Yeah, Connor Cunningham's going to lose a couple more spots. Right now, top 7, all pretty much single-filed. Andrew Sanford in that 37, sitting P8, up 14 spots. It looks like he's able to get a little bit of a draft, kind of stuck there right in the middle between Francis Hamilton and Andrew Sanford. And then, of course, Connor Cunningham, as you just said, as Brendan Book now back inside the top 10 after some early woes.
Yeah, you know, like I said, I think that short list of drivers who have not been involved in an incident tonight is definitely very, very small. But let's take it back up to the lead here. Stephen Maggio along with Matthew Opliger in that 20 machine. Very, very tight. We've seen these drivers up front quite a bit in these races. Both drivers already have 2 wins this season, both looking for their third. Rivers Jones, he has yet to get a win. I know he would love to see it in that 91 machine.
Oh, yeah, Rivers Jones fast week in and week out. He's got Joe Berg just behind. I saw the 09 throw a big old slide job to take the lead earlier. You just saw the 20 do it to the 51 of Stephen Maggio last lap. Everybody's single file. Everybody's so worried about making contact with that wall coming off of 3. 51 kind of throwing that nose just inside. 20 able to squeeze in. Good thing no net code right there. Otherwise, we might have been looking at a big one in the beginning of the race, or in the beginning of the line.
Take a look at this 09 machine. Justin Inisagak, just absolutely incredible. Dives it in, gets very, very loose, gonna cut in line, but man, pure chaos as he's trying to make up some positions. Moves up 11 spots total for P5 here so far with 11 to go, coming up to 10, but man, it just goes to show you hard contact with several more drivers. Something's got to give, Pete.
Absolutely. That was the 09 kind of getting to the wall there. The 11 of Jimmy Cocker had to check up so much. The 48 of Francis Hamilton able to pull low really fast in order to not get collected. Long conga line of cars talking about, the top 10, top 11 right now. The 20 hoping he sees the white flag sooner than later.
Single file line right here, but that 09 is not giving up. We've seen him just dive it down lap after lap. Now the question is, how are his tires feeling? Can he hold out for 10 more laps? That is a lot to ask in these cars. That driver has got to be feeling some tire wear. You know he's hit the wall. He's hit the apron a few times. We'll see if he can hold on to it.
Yeah, Justin Hanscock right now has the newest of every driver up there. He was last on pit road lap 58, where everybody else has been on there since lap 41. That might be why he's so willing to try to throw it inside so often, try those slide jobs as often as he can. He's hoping for more out of the tires, knowing that everybody else in front of him has been out there longer than he has.
20 trying to break that draft. You see him in that lead. The 51 gonna make some momentum up heading into that first corner there. Single file line still as they go into the corner, but the 20 has lost the gap that he once had. The 51 is right on his tail. The 91 not too far behind. Joe Berg looks like he was trying to back off as to not hit the wall. Absolutely crazy out here. Woodward, thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Hope you're doing well and enjoying this wild race.
91 laps complete, 9 more to go. Rivers Jones, you mentioned a little bit ago, he'd love to win here in the Pocono Mountains. He started third, running third right now. Last time he was on pit roads, lap 41, right along with the rest of the top 4. Justin Anaskok, again, as I mentioned, last on pit road, lap 58. They're going to come up to some lap traffic soon. 20 trying to pull low as he comes underneath the flag stand, trying to break the draft as much as possible. The 51 getting a shot in the back end from the 91. He's going to be able to throw it low to try to slide on up. The 20 trying to take that high side momentum up and off the corner, side by side for P2.
Contact. They make a little bit of contact with each other. Then the wall. The 91 makes contact with the cars up high. The 09 tries to take it down low, and he gets tagged.
Oh, hard wreck.
Justin hard into the wall. We'll see if he, man.
No caution.
It's going to have to be a caution. Just absolutely pummeled into the wall.
Yeah, Justin Anaskok, I mean, that was harsh. Inside wall, then outside wall in that 09. Very, very fast machine. That'll be the night for that 09.
Just so unfortunate. I know he's had another car just narrowly misses as he is just flying up the track. Just so difficult to watch that, man. I know he's had such a great car trying to make his way back through the field. You just hate to see it happen.
Yeah, it kind of looked like he was going low, and the 91 was not willing to give that spot, even if Justin had a run coming off the corner. And very, very unfortunate. No, maybe the 909 was not clear.
That's a difficult one, and these guys have to decide on the spot. Was I at fault for that incident? And if I am, I need to claim it. So some of these guys have claimed at least 1 or 2 tonight. That can mean huge implications for how their race goes, because the second one is going to put them a lap hold.
All right, Eliza, we're going to go back. Green with about 4 or 5, working lap 7 right now. Maggio, Oplinger, Berg, Hamilton, Sanford, the top 5. Rivers Jones, Jimmy Cocker, Brendan Book, Evan Knopp, and Jonathan Hernandez to round out the top 10. Connor Cunningham right now sitting P11, right where he qualified. He was hoping for a great race. He's loved racing here going back to console days. There's just something about the Tricky Triangle that fits his driving style. Came in here with high hopes. Right now, hoping for a great points night.
Take a look at these drivers. They only have 3 sets of tires tonight. Steven Maggio on his way in, along with several others. It looks like Brendan Book going to stay out, along with Jarrett Cardwell. I would say our top 22 or so drivers have gone in, with only 3 so far staying out.
Yeah, Brendan Book's last on pit road, lap 58, the same as the 12 of Jarrett Cardwell. Jamie Wright was on pit road, lap 67, so 9 lap fresher tires than our top 2, and we'll have to see who wins the battle off of pit road here in just a moment, but I'm hoping that those top 3 aren't a sitting duck. It looks like the 23 and 1 other going to try to maybe get a lap back as the pace car comes around next time.
And Jamie Wright with freshest tires out there, and then Maggio and Berg, they were on 33 lap old tires, but they should be on fresh ones. If they saved them, I can't imagine it would just be a fuel stop, but very interesting turn of events here. I think things are going to get scrambled up on this restart. We've seen so many drivers make contact with that wall. I'm kind of curious how many of them had to fix any damage, especially to that right front. I'm surprised with some of those hits that we saw, that there was not more damage to that right front tire.
How about Jonathan Hernandez beating everybody off pit road with a pit time of 10 seconds? That tells me 2 tires and maybe just top it off with fuel if any was needed, depending on when he was on pit road before that. So Jonathan Hernandez, he's going to have the right side to keep the grip, but can he make them work at here at Pocono with what will be 5 to go when we come back green next time?
It'll be interesting to see how he plays that out. We know he's a fast, aggressive driver, so I will not be surprised if we see him take it 3 wide. It will be definitely elbows out for these final few laps. I'm hoping to keep it green, but again, with everything that we've seen going on here tonight, I'm not counting on it.
Nah, Steven Maggio, pit time of just over 14 and a half seconds. So that tells me for brand new Eagle Feel Goods, the same thing with Joe Berg, Francis Hamilton, Matt Opliger, Francis Hamilton with a 16 and a half second stop. And then Jimmy Cocker with a 15-second stop, same as Andrew Sanford. So pretty much the rest of the top 10 took 4 brand new Eagle Feel Goods. They want to try to get everything that they can out of these final what will be 4 laps from Pocono, presented by the Izzy and Jay Soap Company. Go on over, give them a follow, or go on over, take a look around. Everything again from natural soaps, tattoo butter, beard balm, anything that you could possibly need to take care of yourself. And a big thank you to them for picking up part of the tab here in the Shake and Bake iRacing Gen 6 Cup Series.
Absolutely. Great to see him out there. Be sure to visit them at www.izzyandjsoap.com. We're getting ready to go back to green. 4 to go as we make our way around turn 3 here. And Woodard says chaos. And you couldn't have said it any better. We have Brendan Book going to lead us to green. Jarrett Cardwell is going to be on that inside, with Brendan deciding to take the outside. Jonathan Hernandez going to be in that second row. And as I said, he's an aggressive driver along with Jamie Wright. So 2 aggressive drivers in that row too.
Absolutely. Brendan Book, I don't think we've seen very many issues on restarts on older tires, and it doesn't look like we're going to see one this time. Jarrett Cardwell is going to have a peek to the I'm just going to have a guy peek to the inside. We're going to end up going 3 wide for about P4. Here comes the 93 of Joe Berg throwing to the inside of Brendan Book. You got the 1 of Jonathan Hernandez, came out with only 2 new tires. The 20 of Matt Opliger up against the walls. They fan out on corner exit.
I don't know what is going on here, but pure chaos as the third row here going 3 wide. And Jarrett Cardwell loses a ton of spots as he's just trying to stay out of trouble. We'll see if we can't keep it that way, but Matthew Opliger in lead, Brendan Book in second. Jimmy Cocker is going to be in fourth, with Joe Berg moving up to second with a great move underneath, and these guys trying to situate out from third on back.
Joe Berg absolutely wrapped turn 3, hashtag what turn 4. That time probably one of the best I've seen anybody do that all night long up by the wall. He's got Steven Maggio underneath him. Joe Berg getting a big old push from the 11 of Jimmy Cocker. They're 3 wide going into 193.
Joe Berg hard into the wall.
You will have a caution.
Yeah, he gets a nice shove going in that corner, and you definitely can't do that in these cars. It just upsets the car, and he goes hard into the wall. And I know he's got to be extremely frustrated with the great run that he had with only 3 to go.
Yeah, same thing with Connor Cunningham inside the top 10. That 3 car was collected. The 7 of Luke Allen able to get on by later on. But yeah, hard shot for that 93. Eliza, a lot of these drivers really invest a lot of money in some great wheels, and of course their pedal sets, their rigs, and all that. Those wrecks, sometimes they really do worry me with the amount of forced feedback that these drivers run with. Something like that can easily break a thumb if you don't let go of the wheel.
You know, I've heard a couple of drivers even break a wrist, to be honest.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you have a powerful enough wheel, but Connor Cunningham, just absolute damage out there. Kevin Dalator, another one that is damaged, missing the front end of his car. Joe Turkey says, talk to us when you can, driver. I think we got a few of those situations.
Yeah, 3-car also crab walking down the front stretch behind the 92 of Joe Dalator. But right now, Matt Opplinger says, we got a green-white checker to go. Stephen Maggio P2, the 48 of Francis Hamilton. We talked to him earlier. Jonathan Hernandez on those 2 new tires sitting P4. Jimmy Cocker sitting at P5 in that number 11 Toyota. So 2 Toyotas, 2 bow ties, and then 2 more Toyotas for the top 6. If you're a manufacturer, follow your first Ford Mustang or Blue Oval right now, sitting P9.
Hey, this is going to be a race about survival in these final few laps here. Absolute insanity. The racing has been absolutely phenomenal as far as just going side by side and how much they're just going 2 and 3 and sometimes 4 wide. But man, with that, we've talked about it with chat. With that comes the draft package, and you just can't get away from anyone. And it's going to create some chaos. And here we go. Some of these drivers taking a peek onto pit lane to decide, trying to juke some drivers out. But we have Jarrett Cardwell in pit lane, Brian Pizzakimi, Jordan McGraw, Connor Cunningham, who has a lot of damage to fix, along with Kevin Dalator.
Yeah, Jose Ruiz sitting P25 on pit road. John Jurgensmeyer in 29th, also on pit road, as well as a few that retired early. And as you look at the running order right now, only from P16 on up is on track or is on the lead lap. So a lot of wrecked race cars here. What you normally wouldn't see at Pocono, you mentioned just a moment ago, the draft package. You can either run the 550 or the 750 engine package in the Gen 6 Cup car. Some people like some people like one version other than the other. But right now, it's I want to say this is probably the most cautions I've seen at a Pocono race in quite a while. Not quite sure what the contributing or what the main contributing factor is. We've seen a lot of aggression. We've seen some moves that haven't quite worked out, but then again, we've seen some that really have and have kind of added to that excitement all evening long. But I think as we come to our first green-white checker, Eliza, I think that aggression's about to get ramped up because everybody wants max points.
And that's a little scary to think about, Pete, because it's the final laps, and I know a lot of drivers want to finish strong, and we've seen a lot of drivers end up on pit lane trying to fix damage that have been up front. So these guys, it's just kind of a ticking time bomb out here, especially in these final few laps. The 20 and the 51 have consistently been up here in the front. Francis Hamilton up 28 spots. He's sitting P3, so he's in a great spot. Jonathan Hernandez escaped the chaos. He's in 4th with Jimmy Cocker. He's sitting in the top 5.
Yeah, Andrew Sanford right now sitting 6th, up 16 spots. Evan Knopp right now, a guy you can never rule out, up 22 to P7, kind of going back and forth with Brendan Book right now. Jamie Wright and Tom Harmon going to be 9th and 10th. So this top 10, most of the people that, for the most part, have been able to, keep their nose somewhat clean, although I am kind of surprised to see the 68 back there for about, P9 right now, because when you think about Jurgensmeyer and the back end of his car getting lifted up off the ground after he got the wall, that was the 68 that kind of lifted him up a little bit. So great job by Tom Harmon to get the damage fixed to that 68 frozen machine, and he sits about P5 on the high side outside of Brendan Book or the 03 right now.
See how they go, but the pace car should be in this time around, and we'll go back to racing hopefully for the final few laps. We'll make it green. See what happens though, but Matthew Oppliger will be leading us back. Stephen Maggio right next to him on that inside. Everyone, for the most part, has taken that outside line and has done really, really well with it. But I think these drivers are going to fan out 2, 3, and possibly 4 wide on this restart here.
Yeah, at 51, you have no question, or I have no question in my mind that as we get to turn 1 under this restart, he's going to go ahead and absolutely go full send into that corner down the hill and try to hope that that car will stick up and off the corner. Pace car's pulling off. Eliza, we're going back green, white checker attempt, number 1. Let's go.
Here we go, already trying to make it 3 wide in the back, but they cannot make a position move unless you're past that start-finish line. But man, they are fanning out in the back here. Matthew Opliger in the lead, Stephen Maggio in second, and you see that one car, Jonathan Hernandez, on the outside. 2 wide after third place, and we already see chaos, and it's going to be Jamie Wright, the 03, and we're going to have Dylan Robb. He's out there in that 16 car.
Yeah, both of them made hard contact with the inside wall. The 20 was able to hold the 51 off thanks to a big old push by the 1 of Hernandez. Looks like Andrew Sanford is able to move on up to P4, and P5 is going to be Francis Hamilton, but another wreck to bring out another caution.
Oh, man. Can we get it done tonight, Pete? It's been just trouble from start to finish tonight. It's been a little wild, and as they're saying in chat, David called it. He said there will be another wreck. Here we are.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, when it comes down to green-white checkers, there's not a whole lot of time left to fix damage. You got to hope that you can stay on the lead lap, that the damage isn't all that much. I don't know if I'd say the cars were fully up to speed right there, but that's not always the it factor. The it factor is really about how you hit the wall, whether it's head on or if you hit with just the wheel or something like that, that'll bust a toe link or take the entire front clip off the car. So you got some time to fix the cars on pit road, especially this being such a large track, but that's not the scenario that you want when we're coming to the closing laps.
Definitely not the scenario that you want coming up here, but all these drivers, 8 lap old tires. Hopefully, we only had 3 laps, so some may have just come in for the fuel. But yeah, these guys staying out. We only have a couple of drivers in, and I guarantee it's the ones involved in that incident or still on pit lane trying to fix previous incident. But this is about survival. It's just simply survival.
Absolutely, yeah. Jamie Wright and Dylan Robb still on pit road trying to get those machines fixed up. We're having fewer and fewer cars out here on the lead lap and in contention that aren't damaged up. Looks like the 20 of Opliger, something going on with him. He's pulling on down pit road. Nope, he says, psych, back up, here I come. I didn't think he'd be willing to give up that track position, but the car's in the back. They did choose to go down pit road maybe to fix up a little bit more damage.
Yeah, 16 cars stayed out. Jarrett Cardwell making his way in there. Jordan McGraw, Connor Cunningham, Jamie Wright, who was involved in that incident. So a few takers for pit lane, and the rest are going to stay out. Absolutely incredible. We have our top 6 drivers, though. Some of them making up over 20 spots from where they qualified at. One includes Francis Hamilton. The other one, Evan Canop, who is starting P6.
How about Matt Gale? We talked about him earlier in that number 67 from across the pond. Up 15 spots to crack the top 10. Good night for Matt Gale. Is Twitter Gale Force Wins or Gale Force or X if you want to call it that, tweets out how he does each and every week and how he feels that he does within the community and each race. Very, very active on X. Loves racing, and that's why he stays up to the wee hours of the morning from Great Britain to race here in Shake and Bake.
Absolutely. And I see you out there, Polish. He says, I was able to get home from bowling before this race got over with. I know, it's Pocono. It is crazy out here. Don't ask me. I'm sure these drivers have some stories to tell after this, maybe some beef to throw around. It's been wild for sure.
Absolutely. Just that I know. You need to make a sound clip of that. I know. Because that was absolutely great. But yeah, lights atop the pace car going to go out this time. It's going to be green, white, checker attempt number 2 next time by. So we'll have to see if Matt Opliger can get the same great restart. He got a whole lot of help from the one of Hernandez. Hernandez now going to line up behind that 50 Aflac. I'm sorry, the 51 Aflac machine for Steven Maggio. Andrew Sanford's going to be behind Matt Opliger. Jonathan Hernandez, Evan Knopp will round out the top 5, and then Francis Hamilton in that Detroit Tigers number 48 Chevrolet, now up 25 spots. The same with Knopp to sit in P6. Eliza, what do you think? Somebody comes up and wins it from the second or third row?
You know, our top 2 drivers, they already have 2 wins, and we have Andrew Sanford does not have a win this season yet. Jonathan Hernandez also does not. And Evan, who is making his first race appearance with us for this season, obviously he is looking for his first win. Anything can happen, but we have a couple of viewers out in chat saying Matthew Opliger definitely going to win for sure.
Yeah, Evan Knopp, I mentioned earlier that you can never give up on him. He actually races on Sunday night in Mike Papa Bear Campbell's Turn Down for What League. Very, very fast, week in and week out, can get it done at any given time. Very, very strong racer. Welcoming him back to the Shake and Bake iRacing Gen 6 Cup Series. I tell you what, if you're going to make your re-debut or whatever you want to call it, Pocono Raceway, I don't know if I would have chosen this track.
I believe he said when I spoke to him before the race happened, he said he didn't have a lot of experience here or hasn't raced here in a while, so I'm kind of curious what he thinks about Pocono now. And here we go, getting ready to come back to green. These guys side by side, really gathering it up very, very closely to make it on hopefully our final restart. And that high side lagging back a little bit. That 20 with a great restart, the 51 with a great restart. 51 going to take it down low, the 20 down low, giving him no room or contact going into 1.
Yeah, great sportsmanship by the 20 to pinch the 51 down. He's going to try to get that run up on the high side, but it looks like the 51's going to be able to slide up in front. Got some contact in the back, but able to keep it green. Still battling for the lead down the Long Pond straightaway.
I'll tell you what, I'm on the edge of my seat. My heart is racing. I can't even imagine these drivers as we're making it around turn 2, and this is where we see a lot of drivers make contact with that wall. So far, they're fine, but caution comes out.
Yeah, I saw the 8 of Tom Flickcroft and a couple more back there. Just looked like one car went around, including the 9. Very unfortunate for Austin Mitty, seeing those Napa colors sideways a couple times this evening. I know you as a Chase Elliott fan, you don't want to hear that, but yeah, the 8 and the 9 pulling away together.
I'm just having a very frustrating night. Just tough. Looks like he just gets tagged in the rear there. Nothing he could do if that's the case. And the 9 involved 61. Quite a few drivers that have been involved already in earlier incidents. So these guys have to be very, very frustrated.
Yeah, I saw the 45 and Matt Sisler up by the wall with some heavy contact for him. I think that's the first time I've mentioned his name, except for going through the field earlier. But very, very unfortunate for him. 8 and 9, just it kind of is what it is right there. Polish Hammer says, "Finish this race, please." Trust me, Polish. I hear you.
We're on board with you. It's kind of looking like Groundhog Day out here. We're just rinse and repeat. Just, we've seen this story again. But, man, it is trouble out here at Pocono. One of the most caution-filled races that we've seen this season since we've employed the new penalty system. It cleaned up things, and these drivers were on top of it. But tonight at Pocono, we had the All-Star race last week. Aggressive, yet insanely clean. Tonight, I think they said, "Hold my beer."
Yeah, you could be right there. And I believe there's only 3 green-white checker attempts So this would
Yes.
be the final, and if it's the 51 or the 20 or maybe the 37 or Francis Hamilton in that 48, whichever one of them is up front, when or if that yellow flies, that will be your winner.
You know, we got Stephen Maggio out there writing in Discord an entire paragraph as he's driving. Don't ask me how he's doing it, but props to him, just saying, I'll read off what he says. Nothing you can do if you're on the inside. It causes people to race very aggressive to get clear, and then just wrecks happen from the aggression. So you can just see, we talked about it earlier, there's so much draft, and you're tight as it is out there. When you're trying to make those dives to the inside, you're pushing your car up to the top, and as he says, it's just aggression, and it's bringing out these cautions. Just unfortunate to see the amount of drivers it's taken out. Look at our field; it's thinned out quite a bit here.
Oh yeah, we kicked off, I believe, tonight with 33 drivers, and we are far below that. I think everybody from 14th on back is on pit road, either for a final stop to clean up a little bit of damage, or has been on pit road for a while fixing damage. So yeah, we are very, very thinned out. And what Maggio says is right, but at the same time, everybody's out here to win, so you're going to ramp up that aggression, but you got to do it in somewhat of a clean way. You can't just run somebody over if you get a better run off the corner. We've seen him do that, get a great run, and he immediately pulled it low. So this isn't at him, but it's everybody wants to win. Everybody wants to be automatically locked in to the chase that starts in about 4 or 5 weeks. It's gonna be a great end to tonight, and I definitely look forward to seeing what next week has in store.
I don't think we've seen the last of her troubles, but this should be the final caution series out here for tonight. 13 cautions. That is crazy. With 3 to go. Still have a lot of drivers looking for a first win, or some of them looking for their 3rd win, including our front row, Stephen Maggio and Matthew Opliger. Francis Hamilton, we talked about him, looking for that first win. I know he would love to see it, along with Andrew Sanford, Evan, Jonathan Hernandez, Matthew Gale, to name just a few. We have some new faces out front here that are all looking for a win.
Absolutely. We've seen Stephen Maggio and Matt Opliger race very, very hard with each other. We've seen them make contact with each other. We've seen them wreck each other out. The 48 and the 37 of Andrew Sanford, they obviously don't want to get a win like that, but I'm sure they would take it as it comes. Everybody inside the top 8 right now was last on pit road, lap 74. Everybody's equal. It depends on how much they've beaten up their tires as we come through this last green-white checker. And by the way, everybody that's out there, all 30 plus of you, thanks for coming out, hanging out, chatting it up, keeping us company and keeping each other company as well. Don't forget, next week, same bat time, same bat channel. From Kansas Motor Speedway. It's going to be a phenomenal race there as well for 134 laps. Whole lot of high line racing's going to go on, but we're not finished up here. Eliza, let's button this down. Let's go.
Let's go is right, and we're coming up on the front stretch here, getting ready to go for our final restart. Stephen Maggio going to lead the field from that outside. The 20 going to bring it up high to try to squeeze him, get all the momentum he can. The 48 going to tuck in right behind, and if these guys are on each other's tail, man, a lot of movement in that back, and I want to say that's going to be Micah Allard, who tucked down to the inside hard.
Oh, the 20 almost got into the the left rear of that 51, checked up just enough to not lose P2, but he absolutely let the 51 go. Now he's getting a big old shove down the backstretch into turn number 2. Here comes that 48 all over the back end of the 20. 48 wants a podium finish as we come to the white flag this time.
One around turn 3 and a lot of movement. Evan trying to make up some spots. He's got the 11 on the outside, the 68 coming in a hurry on the inside there, the 78 right behind him in tow. And here we go on the front stretch, the 51 leading, coming to the final lap here, the 20 directly behind. These guys trying to break the draft to no avail. Single file line hitting into the final corner of the front last lap.
51 throwing it way down on that yellow line. 20 choosing a little bit of a higher line, trying to get a little momentum. 51 again, breaking the draft, pulling all the way down to that apron. 48 sees everything that's going on. 20 able to pull back up, checks up just a moment, gets a little squirrely. Eliza through the tunnel turn, heading towards turn number 3. Hashtag what turn 4? It's Pocono.
This is going to be a heck of a battle coming around the final corner here. The 20 trying to dive it down low, unable to make a move. I think Steven is going to get his 3rd win here coming around the final corner down to the front stretch. He is trying to break that draft. Francis Hamilton with a huge run, but unable to secure it. The 51, 3rd race of the season for a win. Fantastic job, Francis Hamilton 2nd. Andrew Sanford coming home podium. Fantastic finish for him. Jonathan Hernandez 4th. Matthew Opliger falls to 5th.
How about Brian Pizzacami, last on pit road, lap 79, throws the fastest lap of the race in the very end, 53.84. The 20 saw him get down in the grass going through turn number 3. That's why he ended up a little bit further back in the running order than where he was at 2nd. But Maggio, Hamilton, Sanford, your top 3.
Try to get these drivers in the booth, but man, what a wild finish. Andrew Sanford will get him up in here also, and hopefully get our winner. But man, I'll tell you what, he's getting ready to celebrate. Much deserved win. A lot of racing going on, but he brings it home. Victory for the 3rd time.
Yeah, Steven Maggio, very, very strong. Has been strong ever since the first race. The first race here in Shake and Bake, whether it was the Xfinity car last year or now this Gen 6 car. He's going to bring it to the line, and Eliza, this Aflac machine, is going to go ahead and light him up. It's not going to be Carl Edwards doing a backflip off this machine, but definitely celebrating in victory lane is going to be Steven Maggio.
I can only imagine how much stress these guys were under with the final few restarts, just trying to do whatever they could to make up a spot or keep their spot when it comes to Steven Maggio. Just definitely a chaotic race, mayhem in the ending, but man, great job to these guys.
Absolutely. How about Francis Hamilton in that number 48 machine, up 29 spots to secure P2. Great runner-up job for him. And then Andrew Sanford in that number 37 Toyota to bring it home P3. Hernandez with that last 2-tire stop at an attempt to try to stay solidly inside the top 4, does so with a P4 finish. And then Matt Opliger, after hitting the grass coming through turn 3, finishes P5, but that doesn't say anything about his efforts all night long. The man ran a great race.
Absolutely. That 51 just broke that engine doing all the burnouts. Definitely great celebrating for him. And what a race. We'll try to get him in the booth. We'll see if he's able to make his way on in here. But Pete, you want to go ahead and give an interview to our 2nd place driver, Francis Hamilton.
Francis, it's Pete. We pulled you up to the booth halfway or a quarter way through the race while you were leading, and you stayed out. We questioned, what made you make that decision. In the end, you were last down pit road quite late. Put on that set of Eagle Feel Goods, and you were able to stay up there with Maggio and Matt Opliger. Walk us through your race. Any close calls you had, and then your overall strategy, sir.
Yeah, I chose not to qualify. I qualify pretty mid-pack in this car every single week. So I figured, starting the back, maybe miss a few of those few crashes, and I did. Later late, me and my teammate in the 37, Andrew Sanford, we we decided to stay out, try and save a set, and it actually kind of worked. We just ran out of time, and it's so hard to pass here with the the runs that you get when you pull out a line. That if you take that risk, you basically you're losing 3 to 4 spots most times. So yeah, late there, I thought I was in a really good spot restarting third, but again, it's third and on the bottom, so not where I want to be. Got fourth right there. I thought I was in the catbird seat on the last lap. Figured, maybe they'd get into each other, and they did, but just ran out of track basically on the front straight to get Maggio, but still a really good points day, which I needed.
Yeah, these points are definitely going to add up for you. Next week we head to Kansas, very much a highline track. How do you anticipate this car reacting to that track and the drafting issues that some claim this Gen 6 Cup car has?
Yeah, I think it'll be a little less drafty than this, but I think it'll still be a big track position race. You're going to want to be running the top, or you're going to get freight trained, and yeah, hopefully we can stay out of trouble and have a shot there at the end as well.
All right, buddy. We will see you next week at Kansas Motor Speedway. Congratulations on your runner-up this evening. Now, Eli's going to head on over to your teammate, Andrew Sanford, in that 37. It's up 19 spots for P3.
Yeah, Andrew, welcome to the booth. It's so great to have you out here, man. It's a great race. I know up and down race. You gained 19 spots to finish on podium in third. Take us through how your race went and how you made it happen.
Yeah, I mean, Frank kind of covered a lot of that, but it was we played a little bit of a strategy game. I think we were both in the back, so we were both very content with just kind of running around. I was hard saving early on in the race just to try and save a set, which ended up working out really, really well. We got some track position in the middle of the race, kind of got off strategy with people, and it ended up giving us an extra set of tires, or at least a 5 or 6 lap set of tires at the end. But honestly, I think Fred and I were just happy with a good points day. Hard to pass. Patience was really the name of the game, but just proud of the FIWB boys. Back-to-back top threes for me, and I'm excited.
Absolutely. And take us through the final restarts. I know it had to be absolute chaos out there. What was your mindset on those final few?
Don't wreck. Which is the main portion.
I don't blame you.
But honestly, the outside was scary up at P4. The way the inside line crowds you, I mean, you're probably inches off each other. Multiple cars were getting each other on the outside, and inside wasn't much better because if you didn't pass someone going into one, you're getting freight trained at the back end of it. So it's intense.
Definitely a difficult race, but you made it happen, brought it home third. Great for a points night. Just great to see you doing so well out there. What do you think about Kansas next week?
Yeah, I'm excited. The mile and a halves are fun. They're definitely my type of track. It's definitely interesting in the 550 package because, like Fran said, it's a lot of track position game. But I think if you can be really patient, you can have good finishes in this car.
Absolutely. Well, great job tonight. Hope to see you in the booth next week also.
Thank you. I really appreciate it.
All right, Pete, we have our winner in here, Steven Maggio. Let's give him an interview.
Absolutely, Steven. Great finish. Both you and the 20 battling it out all race long. It seemed like you didn't fall off the top 5 pretty much all night long. But so at times you had some dirty air. You had a whole lot of clean air at times as well. Walk us through your trials and then ultimately what it means to you to grab your 3rd win of the season here.
Yeah, that was the most perfect I've ever had to be to win one of these things. In pretty much any league race, I think. I've the lane choice, it was just, or lack of lane choice, I should say, really, but just whatever lane you had to restart in made such a huge difference. I felt like every time I restarted on the inside, I was losing 1 or 2 spots, and it made it really, really hard. And I was just trying to limit the damage that I was having on each restart that I had to be on the bottom, and just make sure I only lost 1 spot or 2 spots and then get to the top. And then just try to be patient because, I mean, it was a long race and I was just trying to be patient to stay up there. Like you said, I felt like I ran top 5 for most of the race, but most of the race it was like 5th. It wasn't like 1st or 2nd until towards the end of the race. Just because I didn't want to try to make a move to the inside and lose 3 or 4 spots down the next straightaway. And then,
Sorry.
No,
go
you
ahead.
can go ahead.
I was gonna say we saw you and a few others that didn't restart on the outside absolutely throw the car down the hill into turn one, just kind of hoping that it would stick. What kind of assistance did you need on that inside line when you couldn't quite get the launch down that Long Pond straightaway?
Just being the shorter distance, I mean, like I said, the outside matters so much that if you could just shorter distance slide job the guy on the outside and get to the outside, even if he crosses you over, it's very low chance he's gonna actually clear you with that crossover, and then you have the push down the straightaway, and uh, yeah, that last couple restarts, I was leading, and then the caution came out, and I was like, man, I really didn't need that because I thought I had saved my tires pretty good, and I think it was gonna be a battle between me and Opliger there, and then all the weird strategies worked out to where I had to restart on the inside, and I was like, oh man, I thought I might be screwed here. But then I was able to get to second, and then I got to second again on that restart, which I thought was great because I thought all I have to do is get to second, and I'll have a chance to get a run on him at some point. And the caution came out immediately, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. Now I gotta do it again. And that last restart was just like was it Chicagoland, I think? That was like the best restart I've ever gotten when I wasn't the control car. I think I launched dead even with him
You
down the
did.
straightaway, and I was able to get the lead there. So after that, I was just trying to, make sure he couldn't really send it to my inside too much, and make sure I got right down to the bottom to give him dirty air. And yeah, he tried to send me in the last turn like cleanly, but he did it respectfully, so I appreciate that, and it was fun battling him. Yeah, I was able to. I was almost worried that Francis might get so big of a run that he might get to me, but it wasn't. The straightaway wasn't long enough, so we got it.
Kansas Motor Speedway next week for 134 laps. Can you go back to back, or is that a track that you feel you might need a little extra practice on, considering it's mostly a highline track? Or do you think we might anticipate seeing a few more slide jobs like we actually see in real life in the bluegrass? No, not the bluegrass state. Well, yeah, Kansas. There we go.
Yeah, I think that's going to be even more. I think it's going to be today's race even more amplified with if you go to the top or bottom and you don't make that pass. I mean, you could lose 5 spots on Kansas just because you will never find a hole up top. With I think it's going to be a trainer on the top, so track position is going to be important, and just staying patient and having the right strategy to where you're on fresher tires, but not losing a whole bunch of spots where you can't even use them. And yeah, I'll just try to be smart about it, be patient, and see if we can get another one.
There you go. Well, congratulations on this week's win in Long Pond, Pennsylvania. Your winner, Steven Maggio. Eliza, more cautions than I thought we'd see at a Pocono race in quite some time. But in the end, Maggio gets his 3rd win on the season so far.
He gets his 3rd one, and next week we are at Kansas. We'll see you the same time, same day, Monday night around 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you so much for tuning in. See you next week.